actor for it, or if they just did it themselves. It was really amazing. Or they like redid it with 8-bit and smart. It says we're going live.
Oh, yeah, I think they just had voice clips. It seems we are.
Hello, everyone.
Because I'm getting a
Merry Christmas and
ad here.
Happy Hanukkah and other Halloween holidays to everyone. I think we are live. Does it look like we are live to you?
We're definitely live. Yeah.
Okay, good.
100%.
Good. All right, everyone.
Wow.
Hello. Welcome to
friends.
The 5-year anniversary of the Hylian Gamescast. I found out last night, thanks to the one and only Daniel, who posted saying, hey, yeah, it's the 5-year anniversary. It is only Daniel and I today. I apologize. But that means that it
was only you and me 5 years ago.
It was
as well.
Yeah, that was not planned. That was a total accident. But it seems it'll work out. Maybe Chubes and Geek will join us on the next episode. Last week, I apologize. We did not have an episode. It was we had a planned guest, Commonwealth Realm, who was 100% ready to come on, and then early that morning, that was my fault. I had to cancel because there was some stuff going on with me, and I may or may not have been sick. Who's to tell? And then this week we had another guest who shall be unnamed for now. That may come on in a couple of weeks. But next week we have another guest that hopefully the pattern we have set will not continue, and he can come on. But it is who, and I completely apologize for saying this because I know I'm going to say this completely wrong, and I really wish I knew how to pronounce it correctly, but I'm going to say Sauron. The creator, or one of the lead creators of the Second Wind DLC fan mods for Breath of the Wild. If you've ever played it on Cemu, and I think there's even a way that you can play it on an actual Wii U and Switch if you have modded consoles. I think I've seen it for Switch, I think, but I don't know about Wii U. So look forward.
I've only ever seen it on Cemu, to be honest. So
well, like I was looking at it, and because I was trying to talk Bree how to do it on Ultimate, which I don't know what that means. I think that's just a gamer thing.
Possibly.
Because it's like you already have like high performance, which makes sense, but then like there's Ultimate, and like that's clearly just propaganda.
Clearly. All right, looks like it's clearing up here. So, but in the chat, let us know how it is, how it be. It's looking better.
Yeah, are we back, everyone? Please let us know. Are we back? It's working for me.
All right, thanks, Aaron. Looks like the chat's not updating on screen though. But
no, I see.
Oh no, wait, no, it is. Never mind. Sorry about that. Okay, so troubleshooting done.
Yes. So
it's not a real podcast. Unless we have some.
It never is, even if we have someone. Cringingly, the worst podcast we have ever had. And I think you know what the original worst podcast we've ever had was, when we had a guest that asked to come on, but then like never said anything. Who they will remain unnamed. There's 2 guests on that episode, I believe. But the now what I consider the worst podcast we ever had was very, very embarrassing, because we had the voice actress.
Oh, Andy?
Andy, yes, Andy on. And I started out with good Wi-Fi, and then it just went really, really, really bad really quickly. And before we went live, she mentioned how she had like got ready and everything and was like really excited for it. And I was like, oh, that's great. And then it was like only the audio was good, and then everything else on my end was bad. And sadly, I was just the only one that was I was the one that was streaming it, so it just went horribly. But luckily, she has agreed to come back on at a future time when she is able to. But that was a year ago, so yeah. Anyways, with
Yes.
all of this, you were reading the super chats, Daniel, I believe, before I rudely interrupted you with my leaving my laptop on low power mode.
You're good. But thank you, Mo Chocolate, for the super chat. Tears of the Kingdom. Me want now. I agree. Thank you. Also, hi Mo. And Richard Nottleman also super chatted. It just gave us a nice little rose. That was all. If either of you guys have questions, though, let us know in the chat, and we'll answer them. And we will answer the questions. Also, regarding the 5 years thing, I actually noticed that technically we're 2 days late because it was October 9th was the first airing date of the podcast, but we obviously weren't recording 2 days ago, so today's close enough. We're just still going to call it the 5th anniversary podcast episode.
Yeah.
And everyone will have to deal with it. So, yes.
I think that lets us get started with all of that out of the way. So, Daniel, did you know Japan?
Yes, I did.
Japan is a place. They had a amazing Nintendo Live event, and I feel really bad because I was talking to Bree about this last night, and I'm like, so do you know that the stuff that I had been doing on
What?
When I was
just tell us anyways, because probably people watching don't know.
When I was looking, okay, so do you know the video that I sent you that was unlisted that no one had shown off, that was like, this is like what it looks like with effects, and this is what it doesn't look like without effects. Yeah.
Yes.
So in that same thing, after they announced Tears of the Kingdom, I did it again, and I was like, I wonder if there's like anything hidden like in the code or the text in the like the HTML or whatever they were using. I don't know. And I was trying to look for stuff whenever I was writing the video that is actually, I think it might be the one that's playing now. It's like the top 10 hidden things that was in or whatever, the top 10 things you didn't know about the Tears of the Kingdom trailer. And I was looking through to see if I could find any other hidden stuff. And there was some of the stuff about the Tears of the Kingdom being at Nintendo Live, which honestly, it said it like at the front of their Japanese website, not on their English one. But if you went to the Japanese website and then you like had Google Translate do all of that, it would say like, oh, expect more about Tears of the Kingdom at the Nintendo Live 2022 event. And I was like, oh. And I thought I had written that and some of the stuff that was in the HTML down in one of the descriptions, but I might have left it off because I might have been just too afraid to say anything, for the same reasons that I haven't made any videos on the videos that I sent you, which would make really interesting videos. But
very possibly.
Yeah, but I did not want Nintendo to be like, listen, we've been good to you. Go
you don't want the ninjas to come after you?
Because they are real. as
Yes.
I apparently found out last year, or at least that's my.
There's also I was watching. I swear I bring them up every week at some point or another, but they have legitimately interesting insights. But like on the Kit and Krista podcast,
Yeah.
they basically confirmed like the ninjas are legit real. They're not like ninjas, but it's a real thing.
Mm.
And it's like just their whole job to shut stuff down if need be. So
Do you think that's why I
yeah.
planned out my
The
whole
ninjas
summer last
aren't
year
just a joke.
for Nintendo, and then it got canceled all of a sudden without me knowing?
Oh, apparently it's happening again. We're getting a little bit of lag
Oh,
and buff.
hello, everyone. I hope we are back. Daniel went to get a refill of water while I fixed some things. We should be here. I apologize for that. That should be the last time. I think my bitrate was just a wee bit too high. We have that fixed. And again, I apologize. Today we're going to be talking about Breath of the Wild, Tears of the Kingdom, the Super Mario movie trailer that came out, answering a bunch of questions from all of you, as well as some that we have in our Discord, and maybe if we have time, since I was not able to make a video about it, which I feel really bad about because I know there was a lot of people that were looking forward to it. We have the video, part 2 of the Tears of the Kingdom translations, thanks to Zoe, as well as the amazing Larulian historian, who has helped on a few previous videos that we've done. Even if you don't know who he is, because I think he has his own channel, but not a very active channel, but he does have collaborations where he's written or wrote scripts for, honestly, I'm just going to go ahead and say basically every Zelda popular YouTube channel that's out there. So if we have time, then we'll discuss that, and if not, then you can expect the full video on it tomorrow. I've been working on it, but there have with almost any translation, there's been more and more updates that I've been getting from Zoe that has added more info.
I'm back.
And Daniel,
sorry about
back.
that. I decided to grab
fine.
a sweater also because
we were just talking about
it's a little cold today.
how we were all just here to see how well you have not aged in the past 5 years.
Oh, uh-oh.
Yeah, like you belong in a class of humans with like Paul Rudd and oh my gosh, I can't believe I forgot his name, Mr. Neo.
Keanu Reeves?
Yes, Keanu Reeves, Paul Rudd, and Capt Bergerson. The
I think
vampires from history that do not age.
I think if you go back to those old podcast episodes, you can tell that I'm like a little more baby. A little more. I definitely.
No, it's just the haircut.
I've aged, in 5 years.
It's like my favorite comedian.
Possibly.
Like with me, I think of it this way. It's oh, jeez, I forgot his name too. Who is the comedian that I like, Daniel? I know you know this.
I don't know.
John Mulaney. Yes,
you
are correct. John Mulaney.
Oh, John Mulaney.
Yeah,
That's the one.
He has a big thing where he ends the joke, or like in the middle of the joke, he says something like, "I haven't aged. I've just gotten uglier." Or like, and I'm just like, yeah, I guess that works for me. Like, cause I don't look any older. I just look worse. So I'm like, okay. I guess that works for me too.
Wow.
Because John Mulaney's thing is like he's like 30 something or 40, and he still looks like he's like 16.
Mm.
Which is incredible.
Well,
considering.
I don't know about that.
Well, not like an actual 16, but he looks like a young adult, not like a middle-aged man.
Right.
Yeah. Anyways, Daniel, there is this. I don't know if you've heard about it. I don't know if you've seen the billions of tweets and Instagram posts and Reddit posts and other stuff about it, but there's this whole thing, Nintendo Live 2022, the statue with Link doing the hand thing like he's shooting out a Kamehameha. Or maybe, possibly even just the pose from the first trailer that is definitely not going to be turned into an amiibo or first 4 figures or official artwork. How do you feel about this?
Definitely not. I feel like it's definitely going to be an amiibo and a first 4 figure statue. Yeah, it's gorgeous. It's really great too because there's a lot of detail on it that you can't necessarily make out in the trailers or the official art. Like people have been analyzing like all of these armor pieces he's got, the symbols on his gloves, which are actually the same as like the soldier's gloves, not the Hylian tunic gloves. So they've made some changes to like his outfit to kind of customize it a bit more. And then of course there's on his green hand, there's a symbol on the back of his hand that we couldn't that was really hard to make out in some of the previous stuff, but or in the previous trailers and such. But now we have had like a clear view of with the statue, so it's actually giving us a bit more details than we had anticipated. It's really cool. It looks so good. Link's never looked better. People are saying there's more choppiness. If you took out the video that's playing in the bottom box, would that help? Just because then you'd be using a little less.
Yeah,
a little less horsepower.
I plan on doing that. I plan on replacing it with the thing that we just happen to be talking about at the moment.
Sounds good. Yeah, just put Link up there. His beautiful, beautiful face. His beautiful face.
But yes, continue speaking about this while I do that.
All right. Yeah, I mean, I'm not sure what else to say. I think that it's, I don't know. I think it looks really good. I also think it further puts to rest the theory about there being 2 Links in this game. Because like I don't know why people are still clinging to that theory.
No, but Daniel,
honestly, I feel like every time we see more of this game, it gets more and more disproven. You know, like they're like, well, we never see him in the sky in the champion's tunic, and then they put out this trailer with exactly that. I was like, oh, we never see his face while he's got that hand corrupted, and then we see that in the delay announcement, his face with the. It's like Nintendo's actively trying to counter these theories with the tidbits they're showing us. But yes, I think it just looks really good. It's really detailed. I do think it's the thing. Okay, so I told you this earlier today as well. We were talking about it. But I tweeted about this and I was saying how I was like, oh, this statue from E3 2016, you know, ended up being the same pose that they used for the amiibo. So maybe this new statue will also be that. And a lot of people were responding and they were like, it's just going to be the official art or something. It's just going to be based on Link's key, or that's just going to be Link's key art. Like that's going to be in promotional material. That's all it is. And I'm like, that's kind of my point though. That's always what they use for the amiibos. Every Zelda amiibo is based off of the official art. It's always the key character art. That's what they use for the basis of the poses for the amiibos. So yeah, I think people kind of missed the point of what I was saying. But yeah. Typically key art is the basis for those amiibo poses, and I think this is going to be the same. I think it's going to be a really gorgeous looking amiibo because they've been only getting better in quality over the years since like the last 8 years. So yeah, Yeah.
I 100% agree because
There he is.
we know that all of. All right,
Then,
we are streaming again, Daniel.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Sweet.
Oh, okay. So, yeah, we have this Tears of the Kingdom statue, which is, if they do make amiibo for this, which I expect them to be doing, we can assume that it will look just like this. As you were saying that at E3, whenever they first had Breath of the Wild shown off, they had like the life-sized Guardian statues. Like it wasn't even this just Link. It was like life-sized Guardians and Bokoblins, multiple Bokoblins in different poses. I think only one Link statue. But the point is, no, because it releases before E3. But I assume...
So I don't think we'll see it.
No, I think we'll see all this stuff at E3. But I think we will get more.
More?
Than just the Link statue. I think it'll be... not the same as Breath of the Wild, but similar. To where like it won't be as big and like it won't all be just Tears of the Kingdom like it was with Breath of the Wild, but I think it'll be somewhat similar to where they'll have like the Link, this same Link statue, and like maybe Zelda or some of the newer enemies.
Right. I think for those Breath of the Wild ones, that was like them putting all their eggs in one basket because they were kind of desperate. So I don't think it'll be like a strictly all Breath or Tears of the Kingdom blowout. But yeah, the game will already be out. That's the thing. So, but it won't have been out for too long. It'll have been only about a month out. So,
and they'll still have DLC and stuff to promote.
That's true. Well, if it's announced by then, or like they probably won't talk about DLC yet. So we'll see. We'll see.
Right. We also had
the announcement. Makes sense. I agree, Natsu, in the chat there. So, sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah. No, there was the Zelda, not Zelda, the Nintendo Direct that happened recently. That was like 7 minutes long. Movie? Yeah, and it was just them like, hey, here's the Mario trailer. Bye.
Right. That did not need to be a direct. It was like 30 minutes of a blank, like of a static image for 30 minutes. And then them being like, here we go. Here's the cast. We're making this movie. Here's Chris from Illumination. Here's Chris Pratt. Just Jack Black. All right, now watch the trailer, and then that was it. It was like
the part that
why do you think
made me the most interested is where they were like, we've been working on this for like 7 or 8 years. And I'm like,
yeah, that was wild actually. Yeah, but I think the trailer was pretty good. Obviously, Jack Black was like the highlight in my opinion, at least. I thought he really killed it as Bowser. I really, really thought he did fantastic. Yeah, couldn't ask for better.
No, I thought he was good. I thought it was really funny. The fact that the little penguins marched out and like berated him with snowballs.
Yeah.
So
no, I liked that, and the dramatic voice for the King Penguin was actually really great. Just like this it's a little over the top, in almost a satirical way. I thought that was great.
Yeah, it really was. Matt Fry in the chat says Chris Pratt was doing a self. Yeah, it seemed like he was mimicking the high-pitched voice of Mario, but not the Italian accent. And then I seen people online was like, this is what the actual Italian version sounds like. And I'm like, okay, yeah, that sounds not like that sounds Italian, but not in like the racist pretending to do an Italian accent way. So
it's funny is they like people are saying it's just Chris Pratt's normal voice. I don't 100% agree. He's got a very slight tinge of Brooklyn accent in there, like a very, very like a very subtle bit of accent. But what ends up happening, because he's not like overdoing it, and it's just like he's kind of pitching his own voice up a bit, is he sounds exactly like Linda Belcher from Bob's Burgers. There was like that's exactly what he sounds like. Like and I saw someone on Twitter posted a video where they animated Linda Belcher saying those lines, and it was exactly that voice. Like it was perfect. And very hilarious. So no one will ever unsee that. Just putting that out there. But yeah, I think I can see why they didn't go with the traditional Charles Martinet Mario voice. But what I will say is that a lot of people online have been like, of course they didn't, because Charles Martinet's a voice actor, not a film actor. To which I have to remind everybody that, one, voice actors are actors. Period. Two, this is an animated movie, aka what voice actors are like specialize in. And B, Charles Martinet is a film actor. Before he was ever Mario, if you go to his IMDb page and like just filter out anything Mario, he actually has a pretty robust portfolio of work, including a lot of film work. And the man has range too. If you didn't know, if you play Skyrim, he is Parthenax the dragon in Skyrim. And you would never know that that's the same actor who does Mario. And of course, he does several Mario characters. But like for people to say, oh, all he does is say 12 lines in each game, it's not real voice acting. The man got the role of Mario because he was a good voice actor first and foremost. Now, do I hate Chris Pratt's take on Mario? Not necessarily. I still think Martinet should have gotten it. I still think it should have been Charles's role from the get-go. I don't think it should have been exactly what we get in the games, because that's a little, even when Charles does like those like at events, he does sometimes those like interactive Mario things where like people can go and like talk to Mario, and he does like hour-long performances as Mario and just like having conversations. He kind of relaxes the voice a bit to be a little more conversational, and I think something like that would work a little better than like it's a little like higher pitched and a little overdone in the games a bit. But when he does other performances as Mario where he has to talk more, it ends up relaxing a bit. I don't know how else to describe it because I'm not a voice actor, but he kind of settles into it a bit. So I think there is like middle ground that honestly the voice could have been workshopped for him, that I think he really could have made it work. But yeah, I think
he's still in the film though.
He's still in the film. He's just not Mario. But I just don't think that I'm sort of not sure where to sit on it with Chris Pratt's voice for Mario. Like I don't hate it, but I don't love it. You know what I mean? I'm kind of like in this sort of undecided phase. So we'll see. But yeah, I mean it's not just Chris Pratt's normal voice. It's definitely Linda Belcher. But stop saying that Charles Martinet is not a voice actor. That's literally his job. He literally is. And he's a voice actor. He's done film. He's a very, very talented guy. I think a lot of people are kind of selling him short in that conversation, which is annoying.
And he was
everyone else in the movie
very nice when we ran into him at E3.
Yeah, also true. He's always super friendly with fans and stuff. Like honestly, he's such a gem of a human being. So yeah, I think we'll have to see how the actual film goes out, because we got like what 3 lines from him in the trailer.
Yeah, and we also have to remember that Miyamoto himself was the one that approved of basically everything in this movie, because in the contract Nintendo signed with Illumination Studios, it was like if there was like one, even if the movie was 99% done, if Miyamoto was like, no, I don't like this, he had the choice of just canceling it altogether or having them fix it.
Right.
So like if just the tiniest thing popped up and he was like, nope, this is giving me a bad vibe, I don't want to do this, like he himself had the choice of saying no. So he approved of all the different voice acting casting that happened. Like he was the one that had the final say over everything. Probably, maybe not in every language. Yeah, I would say he like approved it in every language.
He
but
probably has to still approve every language, like
Yeah.
at least just to like, yeah. I think I just have to address this in the chat. Joe says, just accept the voice for what it is and move on. The thing is, like, if this conversation were about any other movie and you were critiquing an actor's performance in the movie, like no one would say that. Just accept it and move on. Like that seems very like you have to remember, like, of course we're primarily a gaming channel, but like I like movies too, and I can be kind of critical of films.
now we're on
sometimes.
Friends with Friends.
I don't know. We're back to Friends with Friends. But like literally it's a form of medium, and acting is a tool for that medium. To just say like just accept it. Like art has to be open to criticism at all times. I'm not saying that Chris Pratt deserves the hate he's getting for the movie either. Like I really don't think that he does.
I myself am a fan of Star-Lord.
Yeah, no, and I think he's talented and he does a lot of good work. But yeah, I just like any like acting performance, you have to be open to critiquing. And of course, like I said, like I really liked pretty much every other voice in the film. I thought, or in the trailer at least, I thought was pretty well nailed, right? So it's not even just a matter of like, well, I want just all the game cast, like not the games cast, but the cast from the games to come
Charles
back.
Martinet doing Waluigi, Wario, Mario, right. Luigi.
Oh my gosh,
everyone.
Man would be earning his paycheck.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think I do think though that like art has to always be open to criticism. That's part of acting. You know, that's the thing, is like they tell you when you're going into acting as a profession, they're like, get used to rejection. Like, you know, get some thick skin, get used to rejection, that kind of thing. I don't know. You have been rejected, Jesse?
It's a joke.
Oh, I'll reject you. Goodbye.
Oh, I know. I'm like, hey, can I come out of the basement? And you're like, one more day.
One more day. Yeah, so I'm curious to see what some of the other voices sound like. We like heard a little bit of Luigi, but like only him like panting and screaming, not any actual spoken lines. Didn't hear any Peach. I actually thought the Toad voice was good as well. Because I think if they did the Toad voice that's like in the games, it's really gravelly but high pitched.
Mm-hmm.
I think that would get really irritating. So yeah, I thought overall it was good. I feel good about the movie. I was very skeptical about how you can make a good Mario movie, but I think that overall I like the art direction they're going with, and yeah, we'll see. We will see.
Yeah, I really liked it. I thought it was hilarious, especially they had their typical Illumination. I don't want to say typical, but they had their Illumination style comedy with the penguins coming out. That you could tell like that was the part for the little kids and stuff. Jack Black, honestly, knowing Jack Black was playing Bowser, when Bowser spoke, I didn't hear Jack Black. I was just like, oh, that's good.
Yeah. He also did a panel at Comic-Con that same day, and he did the Bowser voice like and a bunch of stuff. And yeah, it totally doesn't just sound like Jack Black, which I appreciate. He clearly has like put the work into this voice.
Yeah, and he's
And he
played
sounds
in
great.
at least like there's 2 or 3 video games that I know of before where he played video game characters. So he has been in video games before. But obviously he's never done Bowser, but
Mm-hmm.
who knows?
I think it's worth a mention as well that like there was no doubt in my mind that Jack Black would nail this, and I think that like it's pretty well known that he's like quite into gaming. Like he loves video games.
Is he?
As a medium.
Maybe he should make his own Twitch channel and play video games.
He made his own YouTube channel actually.
Who would have thought?
It's like 𝗵𝗲𝗃 Games or something like that. And yeah, he like legit has like put out videos of him just like playing games and hanging out and stuff. And unfortunately, he's a busy guy, so he was like wanting to do a weekly thing, but he was like legit just too busy to do it. So he posts rather infrequently. And sometimes it's just like stuff from his life or whatever. But look it up. It's actually there's a lot of quite wholesome stuff in there, and the man he likes games. He's one of us. He likes games.
He's one of us.
Yes, no. So I had no doubt about that. I think he was the right man for this job. Yeah.
Also, thank you.
But I really do
want
to hear the rest of that. Oh, thank you. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, it just popped up saying that he subscribed. So thank you.
Very nice.
How do you think this will do compared? Someone mentioned it in the chat. Who's 𝗵𝗃𝗃𝗃. How do you think this will do to the 90s live action Mario? Do you think it'll be better, worse, the same? Do you think Mario's last name will be Mario?
Oh no. Well, okay, so the live action Super Mario Bros. Film was plagued by a disastrous production environment.
Don't say
so
that.
Like they changed directors like no they like changed directors like 2 or 3 times or something like that, and they had a lot of like conflict behind the scenes about like what direction they wanted to take the film. I think the script went through several rewrites like mid-production, stuff like that. Like it was definitely a gong show like behind the scenes. Apparently like some cast members were like drunk for like most of filming as well, things like that. So it's like I think it'll be better just by virtue of having Miyamoto sort of spearheading the project and having more of a clear direction and a more professional atmosphere going into production. I think I really think that's going to be the case. Also, hello Tube in the chat, in the Tube chat. And she says hello and goodbye. Back to homework. Thanks for stopping in, friendo. But yes, I think it'll be better as well, because another thing I was really hoping they would just go all in on the Mushroom Kingdom being like the setting and being like this, being the Mushroom Kingdom that we know. And like in that Mario movie, it's like this weird dystopian thing. The Goombas look like these weird lizard men and stuff like that, right? Like it's like it's just not Mario.
How do you feel about the Mario cartoon?
Like the universe. I didn't think the Mario cartoon was bad.
No,
definitely
I thought
a little
it was
bit.
good.
Yeah, I thought it was not a bad time at all. So yeah, I think the Mario cartoon was better than the Zelda cartoon, actually. Just put that out there.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
The 80s Zelda cartoon. I know some people really love that. Sorry, Super Zelda Girl, if you ever watch this. I know she loves it, but it is pretty cringe at times.
She's pretty cool.
Yeah. She's a cool human. Just I just don't love that show.
As opposed to what else?
An uncool human, or a Goomba. Or a Goomba from the Super Mario Bros. Live action film.
Also, I noticed like whenever Chris Pratt was giving his thing during the interview portion of the Mario
Are you
thing.
talking about the way he said Koopa?
Yeah, like he was like, yeah, we stomp on some, and then it was like he just like time froze for him while he was just like What are they called? Goomba?
Right.
Koopa?
I think some people were saying the way he said Koopa made it sound like a slur, and I thought that
No,
was the funniest thing. Like, you rewatch that, it seriously does.
it wasn't even the way he said it for me.
Damn,
like to me,
tongue,
it seemed like there was like a just because you imagine he has a script in front of him, or at least I do.
Probably.
But maybe they were just like, you just need to say this one sentence, and then he just forgot what they were called. Because he was like, yeah, I used to love playing Mario back in whatever when we were all kids, blah blah blah. And then he's like, and then we stomp on all of the Koopas. And it was like he forgot it, Koopas. And it just like it came really quick, so he said it really quick, and I'm like, did he play in a Mario movie as Mario and forget what the bad guys are called? That was my first thought. But then I was like, maybe he was just trying to be funny or dramatic or something. Because I also imagined that he had a script in front of him to where even if he did forget it, he still knew what the word was. He was just trying to make it funny or dramatic or whatever. So,
yeah, probably. He's a funny guy first.
Yeah, because even if there was that space between where he was thinking of it, I imagine, like, when he started to be like, to think about it, they would have just like cut that out. So I imagine that was part of the direction that he was going for. And I just took it the wrong way.
Yeah. The thing that was weird about that is I felt like he was kind of overselling it. Like he was really trying to like convince us that he's like, I love Mario. I'm a gamer guy too.
Oh no, I
Jack
imagine
Black
he
didn't
was.
need to
Because
convince
like
anyone.
if you watch,
I'm not saying he wasn't. I'm not saying he wasn't. But he was still like overselling it a bit.
Have you seen Parks and Rec?
You know what? I really tried to get into that show, but it just was not resonating.
Podcast over.
Okay. Speaking of, get used to rejection, kids. Jesse really said, I'm out. I'm out. Well, here we are, folks. It's just the burger podcast now. Oh no, he's back. Sorry.
I did not come back for you. I came back for the people watching.
Oh, good. That's fair. All right, I'll just see myself out. Everybody.
Okay. I mean,
just kidding. You can't get rid of me that easily.
We tried, everyone.
Can't get rid of me that easily.
We tried. So are we ready for the next topic?
Sure. Hey, Jesse, you like my shirt? This is the whole topic.
The Hylian Gamescast. Whoa! Who's that with the green hat and the pink hair and the blonde hair and then the same haircut that you have now?
Exactly. Exactly. You did it.
Same haircut you have now.
Yes. Not 5 years ago.
But technically, I literally have the same haircut from when that picture was drawn. So
that's true.
Because my hair literally has not been cut. Hair. No, I mean like it literally has not been cut. Like the cut in that picture is the same cut as now. It's just
that's
more dead ends.
Are you sure? Are you sure?
Oh, I am sure. Since my
my
brother's wedding
was 2018 the last time your haircut was?
It was
oh my god!
For my brother's wedding before we went to E3, and I'm like, well, I have E3 coming up. I don't want to have short hair, but it's my brother's wedding, so fine. And then
wow. No, these were already drawn by that point, I think, though.
Were they?
Oh wait, but yeah, look, your hair in it. It's not that long.
That's what I'm saying.
Wait a second.
That's what.
Wait a second.
Chube's hair is longer than mine, and so is Geek's.
Yeah. Wait a second. Well, never mind.
Also, that shirt available in the description below.
What do you know?
Maybe someone can buy me one.
Yes. Or buy themselves one.
Yeah.
If you want to support the Jessie.
Or support the Jessie. Or if you want to continue watching Super Mario Bros., you don't have to go anywhere.
That's also true.
Yeah, don't sue us,
That's also
Nintendo.
true. Don't sue us, please.
We
Don't send the ninjas.
no, I'm confident. Like there's people at marketing that are nice to us.
Sure. I don't know.
Someone with letters in front of their name, so maybe that means something.
Someone
Someone recommended me for a cool summer thing before the ninjas were like, nope.
No more. No
Yeah.
more.
They're like, Gandalf, and he's like, you shall not pass.
Exactly.
And I'm like, but I already planned out my July. How dare you?
No!
Yeah, anyways, enough about that. That's just something I'll never get over. But anyways, Daniel, did you know there's Pokemon stuff happening?
Oh my gosh. Again?
Again.
They keep doing that.
Yeah, it's like they have new stuff coming out every year. And we have more Breath of the Wild stuff in a second as well for the people that don't care about Pokemon. But, Daniel,
yes.
there is...
Tell me all about it.
From our friends at Nintendo Everything, Pokemon Scarlet and Pokemon Violet news. I said violent. Violet. Well, it gets pretty violent. Like,
Pokemon Violent news.
Yes. I mean,
watch out for these Pokemon.
I mean, did you see
violent?
Did you see the Detective Pikachu movie?
I mean, yeah, Pokemon is a little violent if you think about it. It's just get these poor animals, throw them in a ring, and watch them like fight.
Yeah. Like I don't know if you've ever encountered a Geodude on a walk through the woods.
I'm just saying, you throw some animals in the ring, be like, okay, now you're gonna electrocute each other and set each other on fire, and that's terrible. It's terrible. Throw some animals in the ring together.
Yeah,
just so that's cockfighting. That's illegal in most countries.
October 12th.
For a reason.
Whenever that is,
Inhumane.
Tomorrow, whatever.
Yes, go.
October 12th. Pokemon Scarlet, Pokemon Violent news coming on October 12th.
You said it again.
That time was
oh no.
The Pokemon Company has confirmed that more news for Pokemon Scarlet, Pokemon Violent is coming. With the next information drop planning for tomorrow, October 12th, we should, at the very least, be seeing a new trailer at 6 a.m. Pacific, 9 a.m. Eastern, 2 p.m. in the UK, 3 p.m. in Europe. And I'm like, isn't the UK in Europe? But
Brexit. That's all.
How dare you?
They always schedule these things super early for those of us here on the West Coast, you know? It's
yeah, what time is that in Japan
for this?
That's like midnight in Japan.
Yeah.
No, wait, no, they're ahead, not behind. Sorry, that would be like 6 p.m. in Japan.
Yeah, that's 10 p.m. in Japan apparently. 6
10
a.m.
p.m.
Pacific is 10 p.m. Yeah.
Wow. Okay. Continuing. Updates surrounding Pokemon Scarlet and Pokemon Violet are starting to come fast and furious with the games really. This is just editorial stuff. Releasing it in about a month last week. A 14-minute gameplay trailer was shared, and it included the reveal of Paragraph. The week prior, Wiglet was revealed as another new. Do you remember everyone was getting so upset over Wiglet?
I thought it was just people who thought it was hilarious.
No, they were like,
I thought people
why is this just not another Diglett form? Why? Yeah. Anyways, September provided its own new trailer, plus the reveals of Armorage. Oh, jeez. Can't do this. Armorage? Cyrillige, and Clough. I hope I pronounced those correctly. If I did not, then to any Pokemon I offended, I apologize. Pokemon Scarlet and Pokemon Violet launch for Switch on November 19th, 2022. Let us know if you have any guesses about what will be shown tomorrow in the comments. I imagine, Daniel, it'll be,
yes,
get this, more gameplay with a focus on a possible new legend. This generation.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I was thinking story stuff in general, but yours is a little more focused on. I would like, you know what? I kind of want to see gyms because I don't think they've shown any gym stuff, have they? Excuse me. They said there's gonna be like 8 gyms.
8?
But
who would have thought?
Yeah,
it's almost
how
like
unexpected.
No,
as much as we're
I am looking
on
forward
it, I am
to
really
this
looking
Pokemon.
forward to this
Yes,
game.
yes, we are.
Yeah,
It's just,
yes.
wait. For those of you who remember
some
2 years ago for the trees episode of the podcast that we did with our
Right.
great friend Nintendo.
N64 Josh.
Yeah, I was gonna say Nintendo 64
Yes.
Josh, N64 Josh. Yes. We had a great episode about trees and puddles.
We did. But I gotta say, like, we riff on Pokemon a lot, but we actually do like it. I just want to put that out there.
I believe it is my daughter's favorite game.
It it comes out. I'm gonna be getting it, probably both, but one of them I'll give probably for my son's birthday because it's around that time of year. So probably make some great Christmas gifts. I imagine Christmas, a lot of kids are going to be getting Pokemon for Christmas as well. But I do kind of commend them that they're. It feels like they're really trying to take things in a, for lack of better words, they're trying to evolve this series, trying to take it in a more interesting direction. So I am looking forward to that.
How can you make it more interesting?
Because they're doing the whole open world thing, and it's like legit open world, not like Pokemon Legends where it was sort of open sandbox, which I think actually worked okay for Pokemon Legends. But they're saying like fully open, one seamless world, no loading zones or whatever. So
yeah,
I'm looking forward to that. Yes. Also,
Seems
people are talking about PETA in the chat here. PETA's the worst. That's all I'm gonna say. I'm not just like some hater. I'm legit. I'm a veg head. I'm a vegetarian. I don't eat meat. I try to avoid animal stuff, but PETA is not good. That's all I'll say on the matter. So let's move on, Jesse. What do you think about Pokemon?
There's a lot more that you could say about them harming more.
There is a lot more I could say
animals
because
they help save.
Hypocrites.
But
They actually have like the really like a high record of like euthanizing animals en masse, and like it's sickening. Don't donate to them. So
if you do want to donate, I'm sure there's a lot of wonderful places that you could donate to other than.
Yes.
Anyways, there's a new trailer for this. Have you heard of this Mario game? Mario Rabbids Sparks of Hope? Have you?
I'm also looking forward to that game. The first Mario Rabbids game was so good. It had no right to be as good as it was. So I am very much looking forward to Mario Rabbids Sparks of Hope, sorry. It's gonna be good. It's gonna be good.
Yeah, apparently there was a new trailer that came out just yesterday. Can you believe that? Yesterday.
Wow,
it's like they were like,
hey,
we're gonna give you this octopus-filled trailer for you to check out that has the hand from Smash Bros in it before your podcast, so you can watch it a day ahead of time. And then there's like a weird swirly Zonai symbol from Breath of the Wild. And then Daniel's just like, oh, thank you for all of that, but I'm just going to ignore all of it.
I didn't know. I didn't see this trailer, actually.
You didn't know? How dare you not keep up with Ubisoft?
I'm sorry. Just most of Ubisoft stuff is not my favorite. I found the trailer. I'm going to put that in my watch later. So.
Well, it's playing on the live chat right now. So.
Oh, perfect. Oh, perfect. It's going at 5 frames per second. Look at it go. No, it's it's since its announcement, I've been really looking forward to it because there's a lot of little tweaks and such that they've added to this game to kind of improve the experience over the original. Like, for example, in the first game, you had sort of restrictions on what sort of team roster you could have. And they've said that they're like removing those restrictions, things like that, right? So yeah, should be good. Should be very good. Should be very good.
All right. Natsu asks, proud Patreon supporter of everyone. What game are you looking forward to? If not Pokemon, if not Mario, if not Tears of the Kingdom, what are you looking for?
That's not what they said.
I mean,
that's not what Natsu said.
it's on screen right now. So
this is what isn't Daniel excited for? Because I keep saying I'm excited for these games. No, I don't know. NieR Automata, not really. Octopath Traveler 2, I'm not really excited for that one. I don't know.
𝗵𝗲 Bros in the chat. YouTube, unlike Twitch, has a delay of like 10 seconds or so. So
yes,
like after we say something, you have to wait for it to happen on screen so we can see your live comment, and then like 10 seconds later, that's just how YouTube works.
Like, it'll show up, like we can see it instantly as soon as you put it in, but then it has to go from that chat to our eyeballs and also on our computer, and then into OBS, and then back to YouTube.
Yeah.
And that process, that loop, takes a little bit of time.
Twitch actually does it a bit faster, but YouTube doesn't for some reason. At least not for me. Like whenever, even when Daniel is streaming to YouTube and Twitch simultaneously, like it takes like 10 or 15 anymore, yeah, not anymore, but like you can see something on Twitch, which I am that kind of person that does have both open just to support in whichever way I can. And it's like I'll see something on Twitch and then 15 seconds later I'll see it on YouTube and I'm like, okay, I guess this is why people live stream on Twitch more. But yeah,
Twitch
explains
is
that.
made for streaming. That was like what their whole thing was about, right? So it makes sense they have better infrastructure for it. Also, Tim Burnham asked, why is Ubisoft bad? I wasn't saying they're bad. I was just saying most of their games don't interest me.
I would
say about 2/3 of their games don't interest me.
Well, you see, kids, when the PlayStation 3 was brand new.
Oh.
I loved Assassin's Creed.
Oh, I mean, that back in the day. That was like that was when it was, I think, at a high point. I actually think my favorite one is as Black Flag, Assassin's Creed 4.
That was the one, when I bought my PlayStation 4. I was lucky enough to be working.
Maybe I just like pirates though.
GameStop at the time. The pirate stuff was my least favorite, but like all the shit,
really?
The ship
I liked
battling,
all that.
yeah. Because I'm like,
I liked that stuff. It was fun. Like when you do the battles, like the ship to ship combat wasn't great, but then when the two ships kind of line up and you get to like do all your assassins parkouring stuff around the masts, and then you like jump down and assassinate the other ships,
all stolen from
whatever.
Wind
Waker. I don't think you could do that in Wind Waker.
Maybe we played different Wind Wakers.
But no, that stuff was, I thought, really fun to do. But yeah, oh well.
And then like when the giant Octoroks come out of the water and like you have to go around a whirlpool and start shooting them.
I loved that though. Loved that. Love that. They actually did say that they really liked Wind Waker, and that's why they went pirates. So
Yeah.
there is some basis to that. But oh well. Oh well. But
Yeah, I really liked
yes.
it too. Yeah, so yeah, Ubisoft they do have good games. I like a lot of what they do.
Mhm.
Um,
I liked Starlink a lot. That game came out in like 2017.
they had the Star
I think. Or no,
Fox
maybe it was 2018.
crossover.
But the Star Fox stuff was really fun actually. It was I thought that game was really good as well. The spaceship battles.
Mhm.
The problem is, so I had like bought a bunch of the ships and stuff because like I think they expected it to be a bigger hit than it was. And then a little bit later, like everything went on sale, like huge price cuts for all like the ship parts and stuff like that. And for those who are like, what's he talking about? You could get like physical like little toys. You could like build a ship model and then you put it on a stand and then like you would get that ship in the game with all the weapons that you put on it and stuff, and you could customize it. And it was actually a really cool system. The problem is my the reader that I got with the game for my ships stopped working. So I legit cannot play the game unless I use just the default stuff, which means I can't do like half the stuff in the game anymore. And it's sort of bummed me out. So there you go. There's a not so fun story for you. Just buy the game digital because you get all the stuff for free if you buy it digital. True story. If you buy it physical, you have to buy all of the ship parts separate. But if you buy it digital, it just gives it all to you for free. Don't make the mistake I made.
Yeah. So
yeah,
it looks good on my end when I'm watching back the video, but there's some people in the chat that said like it's not amazing, but it was going. So and like 99% of the people, like there's usually anywhere between like 50 and 100 people that watch it concurrently through the live stream. So I'm happy for everyone. But during the actual like the podcast, like after, there's like never mind. There's
okay.
I don't know. There's quite a bit more that I don't know. And then there seems to be a bunch of other people like us that aren't experiencing issues. And I know that we have had issues during this, but I don't know if it's on our end at the moment or what's going on. But anyways, yeah. So with what else is there? We talked about the statue. We talked about Pokemon. We talked about Mario. We talked about the other Mario.
We got a little tangenty about some other games.
Yes. One Piece Odyssey. Is that One Piece the anime? I
think it is.
I haven't watched One Piece. I like One Piece because it has the same voice actor from Dragon Ball Z, but yeah.
There you go.
Do you know any are there any other Nintendo news that we should be discussing? Does anyone know?
I don't know. But I thought a fun thing we might talk about, Jesse,
Oh,
is
Natsu
it's been 5 years.
For 15 seconds. Oh yeah, 5 years.
Okay. So it's been 5 years now.
I know, and I'm so happy to celebrate our anniversary. Where should we go on our 5-year anniversary honeymoon to? Paris, I'm thinking.
We'll go to
Italy.
Yeah, we'll go to Paris.
Both.
And Italy. Both. Yes. For sure.
$5
super chat
from
Candy. You go ahead.
Okay. She asks, how's it going?
How's it going? How's it going? I love the little pear emoji thing going on there. I love it. Thank you, Candy. It's going good. How's it going with you?
Love your Instagram posts, by the way.
Oh, I
not you, Candy.
Keep up with Instagram enough.
Oh,
I'm so sorry, everybody.
I thought you were gonna say thank you. I'm like, not you, Daniel.
Thank you, Jesse. No, I should post on Instagram more, but I don't.
Calm yourself.
Oops.
No, so yeah, five years. How did this start?
5 years.
Someone poached
That's
someone
what I was
from
gonna
Zelda
say.
Informer? What happened?
Well, we can get into it. I thought it would be fun to kind of recount the origins of the podcast and then maybe talk some of our like favorite podcast memories or
Yeah.
favorite episodes that we've done.
Favorite episodes. Any with Joe.
Actually, yeah, Joe, the ones with Joe and Sean were actually, you know what, one of my favorite episodes is when we interviewed Grant Kirkhope. I thought that was awesome. That was a really fun
maybe
one.
I have good news for you later.
Oh, really? I would love to have him back since Sparks of Hope is coming out and he did the music for that. But I think I want to play the game a little bit first so that I can hear the music.
Oh, okay.
You know?
Well,
we'll see. Whenever we can get him, I'll be happy to either way. Honestly.
If that were to ever happen again.
Yes.
Yeah.
But that was a favorite of mine.
Not that I may have already.
We actually remember we used to have a guest every week.
Yeah.
When this started, that was like our goal. Was we were like gonna always have a guest.
Mm-hmm.
That didn't work out because honestly, it's so hard to plan around other people.
It is, and we did that on my first podcast with Proto Daniel and Proto Tubes, who were Simon and Amanda from Zelda Universe, and it went well for like 7 or 8 weeks. And then it's like, oh, well, I couldn't get a guest. Maybe we'll wait till next week. Because that was what I was trying to do at the time. Because I'm like, no one wants to hear anything from me. So, like, I was just trying to get a bunch of people that I was interested in. So, like, we got people from, like, 3GI and Michael Cthulhu and who all did we get? Jeez, I don't even remember.
I don't know. I wasn't there yet. But I know when we started this one, we had a lot of great guests. We had Rick on an early episode. We had Miss Gonda Chris.
Yeah.
Yellow Killer B was one of our early guests.
Who came close to winning the Nintendo World Championships in 2000.
That's true. I think it was 2017, 2018 or something. No, it was 2018. 17. Because that's when we started. That's why we had her on, because she was in that.
Yeah, she was super duper nice. Had a very nice family-friendly Nintendo Twitch stream, which she still does.
She still does.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And once upon a time, we had this person who may or may not have worked for Nintendo. We're not really sure what she did. She just kind of like drank coffee. I think her name was Tubes.
Yes. Well, that was her. Like we had her on just to like talk about her time working at Nintendo and that sort of thing, and then people loved her enough that she became a mainstay, a proper co-host, which is fun.
And then we did some guest spots for people that were on our Discord, and we had Geek and 𝗙𝗵𝗲.
Yes. Yes.
Well, his name was like 𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏, or his username was, but I called him 𝗙𝗵𝗲 because it reminded me of McIntyre Productions, but like we're not gonna get into that. But yeah, they both did an episode of. I think they've both done an episode of the podcast, but they both voiced on a video that I did about Wind Waker with Tony from GameXplain. And
wait, Tony from
Games? Yeah, Hard for Games, not GameXplain. Sorry.
Yeah, wrong channel.
So yeah, sorry. Today was supposed to be Andre from GameXplain as the guest, but he spilt a milkshake right before, and
Which
he was
is
like,
illegal,
"Sorry guys, I have to clean this up. I can't make it." And we're like, "We understand." Like we take our smoothies and milkshakes very
I gotta clean
serious.
this up before the police find out.
Yeah. You don't want the Yiga busting in and be like, "Did you spill this banana smoothie. How dare you waste a banana?
How dare you?
Yeah, Natsu in the chat.
Natsu
have
Holly Wolf
Amanda
was a guest actually many times.
Yeah, yeah. She also used to voice on a lot of scripted videos as well. She very, very nice. Maybe we'll have her back on soon. She's still very nice. She introduced us to our, well, not our, but I would say one of my favorite restaurants in LA when we were there.
Yes,
and then we went
was a good place
back there,
especially because a lot of other restaurants don't have veg options. So.
Yeah, and then we even whenever all of the Chamber of Sages people like Zeltic and Dr. Wily and Commonwealth Realm and everyone was like, "Hey, came over, Jessie. Let's go out somewhere to eat. Where do you want to go to eat at?" And I'm like, this is the best place that I know of. And then we had to wait for like an hour. Yeah. Yes. So we had like 2 meetups in one.
I'm sorry to do this to you, Jessie.
Oh yeah.
I got that coffee refill and now I gotta pee.
Oh,
so
I understand.
You?
Yeah. I'll just
maybe if you're.
Let me tell you about the life.
Maybe you want to tell the story.
All right.
About starting this thing.
All right. Let's tell you about the rise and fall of Captain Bergerson.
The rise and fall. Okay,
yeah.
BRB.
This is the VH1 documentary about Captain Bergerson. No, so yeah, Amanda is still really cool. I talked to her off and on. She's really great. She does her, I think it's still weekly. I watch as many of them as I can. She does her Zelda news for Zelda Universe, and all of the people there, especially Cody, needs to well, no, not everyone needs to, just Cody needs to DM me so we can go on that coffee date, even though I don't like coffee. Gibbs says hello. Gibbs hung out with us at E3, spent a few nights with us. One of the times, 2 of the times, I don't really remember. They were great. He has some really cool motorcycles. Natsu, yeah, Holly Wolf was a guest too, right? Yeah, Holly Wolf was a guest a few times. We had Grant Kirkhope. We had a bunch of different people from Zelda Universe, or not Zelda Universe, Zelda Breath of the Wild. We had a bunch of different people from... Actually, we've had a lot of people from a lot of different video game companies. Nintendo. Even, like, we've had guests on that we weren't allowed to talk about it at the time. Like, whenever the last time Joe came on, and we didn't mention anything about Zelda, even though he played Daruk in Breath of the Wild and Age of Clams. And we didn't mention anything really about those games when he was on. We've had other guests who have worked at Nintendo in various jobs and not mention anything about them working at Nintendo's. So that's a bit of news for everyone as well, because there's people that can come on as guests because they're friends, but they don't have permission to talk about anything Nintendo related. So that is an actual thing. We've had a few people planned that weren't able to come on that we still have planned to come on. Some new chats. Oh, I've got a bit of news for you guys. Assuming you haven't already covered it, Pokemon sent out a poll email asking what fans wanted them to work on. And one of the things explicitly mentioned was a new Pokemon Mystery Dungeon game. Oh, Pokemon Mystery Dungeon. I downloaded the demos on the Nintendo Wii U. Sadly, you can give me a smack if you want to, or a dislike. I wasn't a huge fan of them. I don't think Layla, my daughter's played it, but I think she would like them. I think there was a couple of Pokemon Mystery Dungeon games that or maybe there was just one that connected to one of the mainline Pokemon games to where you could only get like a certain type of Pokemon. Candy says, congrats to your 5th anniversary and many more to come.
Thank you.
You're the best number one. Yeah, that was the sad, dark end times tale of Captain Burgerson, everyone. I'm glad.
Sorry about that. So
no,
sorry.
No, we're sorry for you.
I know.
The rise and fall of Captain Burgerson, everyone. So let's give him a.
Mm-hmm. But I know you were talking about Pokemon Mystery Dungeon. I took the phone with me to the bathroom like a normal person. But
no, we're not talking about butts anymore.
Oh, okay.
That was last week.
That. Dang.
Yeah,
oh.
All the butt pirates. Have you watched Clerks 3 yet?
For your booty. I still haven't.
I'm not going to spoil
so
it.
Behind on like my watch list of shows and stuff. TBH.
I'm not going to spoil it, but there's one joke in it where like someone's like, he says something like, he's like saying it in like an old English kind of way where it's like we're not blah blah blah, we're but blah blah blah. He's like, we're but pirates, like but comma pirates or whatever, but the guy takes it as butt with 2 T's. And he's like, what the hell is a butt pirate?
We are butt pirates.
Yeah.
Yes,
like,
I gotcha.
Because it's Kevin Smith. Which I have this thing here for you.
Kevin Smith has a bit of an obsession with butts. But I like that thing. I still need to watch Clerks 3 though. I'm so behind
to bring to you.
It's beautiful.
Yeah, it is.
It's beautiful.
It's signed by Jason Mewes, Kevin Smith. Who would have thought? For Daniel's birthday. That was yesterday, everyone. Happy birthday. He turned 12.
I was so happy.
He had butt cake.
Oh no.
No.
Yo, that's nasty. But yes. What was our topic, Jesse? We're talking about our 5 years.
Yeah, so I was talking about sometimes we've had people on. I used Joe as an example because I think that was a very obvious one where there was a couple of people that came on, and this was even before the podcast, where I had people on who had either worked for or were currently working for Nintendo that we weren't technically allowed to say they were working for Nintendo at the time.
Right.
And
yep.
And they came on, and like Joe was an obvious example to where like he came on and we just didn't really talk about anything we didn't talk about anything Zelda related except for Twilight Princess, because at the time that was the Twilight Princess rumor, which is still ongoing because
we had that whole episode where we just talked Metroid Dread as well, right? That was super fun.
Yeah. And there was the episode where he farted on me as Wario.
That's right.
Yeah, but what are some of your fond memories?
Well, I was thinking about the podcast origins. Might be kind of a fun, because sometimes people ask me that as well. They're like, "What? How did you guys get started with that?" You know.
Oh. Yeah.
So I thought it might be fun to kind of
go
over that.
How did we get started? Maybe you can refresh my memory.
Well, for starters, but like just we have a bit of background before we started the podcast.
I worked at a coffee shop. You were doing YouTube videos. I was working at a coffee shop.
This is backwards. It's funny is that that coffee shop I worked at, that's where Chub and I actually met IRL.
You mean Chub and I?
Co-workers. Right. So
in
so I worked
Florida.
there. But I was doing this was like the summer of 2016, I want to say. I had just been brought on at Zelda Informer.
Mm-hmm. Getting paid $1
And
million per hour.
never saw a dime from them actually. But so I wouldn't say I worked there so much as I did labor for free for them. But I was I had just seen like I was browsing like on their Facebook page and they post a listing of like, oh, we're looking for new writers. So I applied because I was like, well, what the hell, why not? Right. And I make videos for my own YouTube channel, which is on an old channel I don't use anymore. But I was like, well, I don't have a writing sample, which is what they're asking for. So I'll just submit a video sample instead because I wrote the video. So the script is like a writing sample, right? And then Nate, who is now Nintendo Prime, but at the time he was the editor-in-chief at Zelda Informer, reached out and he's like, hey, instead of a writing job, do you want to do videos for the channel? And so I was like, okay, great. I'll do that. Let's do that. So I made some videos, some of Zelda Informer's most viewed videos ever were all from me. Not to just a little bit of a brag there. No, it's something I'm proud of actually. So, but honestly, looking back, those videos aren't the best quality. I've improved since then. But Jessie you were already like elbow deep in the YouTube train at this point, right? So yeah, and you had done like a collab with Zelda Informer separately from me, but then we got to talking. And then one day Jessie's like, hey, you want to edit some videos? And I'll pay you. And I said, wow, I'm not making any money doing what I'm doing right now. So yeah. So and then I think first and foremost is we just in a not business savvy decision, we just became friends first and foremost that from there.
Yeah, Daniel's like, I'm gonna pretend to be nice to this guy because he's paying me.
No, not at all. No, we were talking probably on the daily at that point already, like just over like Twitter messages and stuff. Before
Yeah, we were talking about
the
going
Discord
out
server took
for
off.
coffee and like a
Right.
trip to a beach, maybe booking a hotel or something. Who knows?
I said, do you wanna go to Disneyland with me?
Yeah, I want to go to Disneyland.
Yeah. Yeah. Who doesn't? From there, what happened? Do you remember?
I think I always wanted to do a podcast since I started listening to podcasts. And I remember like the first podcast I literally posted on Facebook and was like, who else like has an interest in like starting a podcast or listens to podcasts? And that's how the first one started, because both Amanda and Simon were like, oh yeah, blah blah blah. And ever since that one stopped, I wanted to do another one that was more Zelda focused. And I asked you, I was like, hey, do you like podcasts? And you were like, yeah. I was like, okay, cool, because I got something to tell you.
I think as well that I was saying like that we should do something for, because now at this point I was editing videos for you at that point, and I was like, you know, I can't remember what milestone it was, but I was like, you're gonna hit this subscriber milestone soon. Should we do anything to sort of like when you hit that point? And then that's, I think, when you were like, hey, you ever do a podcast before, or do you have any interest in it?
That sounds about right.
So I think it was like the timing of those two things, of you already kind of having that idea in your mind and me being like, we should do something because this milestone's coming up. Those kind of aligned perfectly. And but I think we actually put it off a little bit because I was moving. if I'm remembering correctly. Because in the first episode of the podcast, I have my video on, and if you look behind me, it is such a horrid mess because I just moved and I was like still unpacking. So there's like boxes and crap behind me. and it looks really bad.
I think we
So
actually had a couple of non-official podcasts before then, to where it was just like discussion videos.
Right. Yes, we
And
did,
then
because I remember we had one where we had SpawnWave on, and I was like the guest from Zelda Informer, if I'm recalling correctly.
that sounds about right. But I also feel like
Yeah.
we had, yeah, we'll just keep calling him SpawnWave. I think we had SpawnWave on 2 or 3 times, because when we first started it, he was inviting me on every week, and then once we started get going, I probably mistakenly started declining his offers to come on his podcast. And was like, well, I'm just gonna do this, and you can come on ours if you want. And he was like, yeah, sure, that's great. And he came on, I think he came on like 1 or 2 after we officially started. And then, yeah, I think, but yeah, there was definitely the one that we had before that, because I remember after it went live, he was like, oh my god, why didn't you guys tell me my microphone was not working right? And I was like, I didn't want to be rude. Like, that was my thing.
Was it not working right? I thought
because there was one, he messaged me and he was like, oh, my microphone, it doesn't sound that great or whatever on the thing. Why didn't you tell me? And I was like, well, I didn't want to be rude. Like, I didn't want to tell you, hey, can you fix your microphone before we record? Because that was another thing. It wasn't live at first. We went like 10 episodes or whatever before we started going live.
That's right.
It's probably a lot more than 10. I don't remember. And it was yes.
Yeah, I was thinking that those early episodes were a little more edited too, because we would each record our audio independently and then edit them and such. But then we kind of stopped doing that because we wanted to do it live, because it's more fun to do it live.
Hold on 1 second.
Live chat. No, only I can leave. You can't leave. Okay, that's fine. He's leaving anyways. Well, he's not even leaving. He's gone.
Can you go for like 1 minute and I'll be right back?
Okay. So Jessie's got to go and stare out the window for a minute. He's just going to go and stand by the window and stare at the birds. It's good for his well-being. He has to do it once every 4 hours. Yeah. So that's when he's allowed out of the basement. But yes, anyways. At that point, also Natsu's in the chat. Sorry, Natsu, I missed that. The volunteer work. So about that, when you're told you might get compensation and then you don't, I don't know if that's called volunteer work. But that's a whole other story. But yes, I actually didn't stay at Zelda Informer for very long. I think I was only with them for about 9 months before I was sort of ejected. I think I'm still on good terms with everybody there, though. I still chat sometimes with Andy, and of course Nate and I are on good terms because I've been on his channel a number of times for his Nintendo Prime podcast and their E3 event I was on as well. Or no, it was it wasn't E3, Prime Gaming Fest. That's what he called it. Those were good times, though. Those were good times. But yeah, we definitely had more of a produced beginning to the show, because we were each sort of recording our audio tracks separately and then editing them together and editing out background noise, which is probably what you're supposed to do with a podcast. But also, that became a lot more time consuming. I think Jessie was uploading them in separate clips at the time too. Like, not the whole podcast at a time, but just segments of it. Or he would do and then he switched to doing the whole podcast on one upload, and then also segments separately in case people didn't want to watch the whole one and like the whole podcast and just wanted to watch one topic, that kind of thing. But we ended up just wanting to do it live because it was like, it's more fun to chat with the chat and all that good stuff. So that's kind of where we started not editing things anymore. I'm trying to remember when that was. how long ago that was that we did that. I would have to go and peruse the channel, I think. Peruse the Jessie channel. I should say as well, I also stopped editing Jessie's videos at some point as well because we just had too much going on. Candy, what do you want? You want me to read the joke? What does the Enterprise and toilet paper have in common? I don't know. You're gonna have to just tell me on that one, I think. I'm not sure. I'm not sure. I don't know. Prime Gaming Fest. Yes, that's what it was. Sorry. Not E3. It was Prime Gaming Fest. I was the only one that dressed up. The only guest that dressed up. I love it. Yes. All right, Candy, you're gonna have to spoil it for me. Baseball's made jokes about both of them. That's a good point to Mario Bros. But that's probably not the answer to the joke. I'm guessing it's not. So now Jessie's had his time to look out the window. It's probably time to feed him a shoe or two. So the good news is I left it in his usual spot, which is behind the washing machine, behind the laundry. I usually just throw his shoe behind there, and then he's got to work for it. He's got to like reach behind and try and grab at the shoe. And if he can't reach it, he's got long arms. He's a tall guy, so usually he can. But if he can't reach it, too bad, so sad. Too bad, so sad. Nate was happy about the fact I was dressed up. Yeah, I noticed. I was really I was happy to do it. I was like, yeah. No, that was a fun one. That was a fun guest spot there. Yeah. Always happy to go on Nate's channel as well. It's because him and I go way back. 2016. That's a lot of years since now. 6 years that I've known Nate. That's wild. That's wild. For those curious, I pulled up here in another tab the first episode of the podcast, and I forgot we had asked people for questions, and someone had asked what if Zelda is set in the Rick and Morty universe, and I think our answer was to the tune of yes, because the Rick and Morty, the whole concept of it was that it's a multiverse thing. And so every universe is set in the Rick and Morty universe, technically. And I think people were upset about that. They were like, this is terrible. Wrong answer, you're awful. That sort of thing. But we thought that was very funny. Yes. They're both circling Uranus looking for Klingons. Oh no. Oh no. Oh no. Girl, that's nasty. Oh boy. Oh boy. Oh boy. I found one of our old discussion videos we did, Jessie and myself, in December of 2016. But SpawnWave didn't have his camera, so it was just myself looking weird and SpawnWave's disembodied voice and Jessie's face. Those were fun discussion videos as well. If you guys want, I can link those for anyone feeling nostalgic about old 5-6-year-old videos in which I'm a little bit thinner than I am now. And I have boxes behind me and my house is a mess. I'll be happy to do it. I'll be happy to link it. Or maybe I'll post it in the Discord or something. I also have a playlist on my channel that's like collabs and stuff, so I'll put them all in there too. Just for fun. Just for kicks. Jessie! Where is Jessie? Jessie. Jessie's gone. Oh, Candy, I don't think you need to explain it. I think I think it's pretty clear what the meaning of this joke is. I think we got it. Not to worry there. Oh dear. That's quite the joke. That is. All right. So, Jesse's also going to use his bathroom break. He gets one every week. So, he's going to need an extra minute for that as well. I let him out of the basement. I said 1 bathroom break a week. 1 meal break in which I shove a shoe behind the laundry machines and you got to reach for it. And that's your meal break. 1 of those per day. And then you also get a time to look out the window. You know, just to keep you sane. Keep you sane, you know. Don't want a crazy Jessie in the basement. Wanna you know, want a Jessie that's tame, not crazy. Please tell it to Jesse. Oh, I think he'll read it when he gets back, but I'll tell him to read it when he gets back. Fig Newtons are tasty. Yes, they are. I'm a big fan of fig bars as well. Just fig got me thinking of that. Yes. Does Jessie ever get treated to a fig bar? No. Those are for me only.
Sorry, there was like, do you know like when you're in Twilight Princess, you're in the city in the sky, and like you think everything's going good, and then like the dragon crashes and breaks down the building, and then all of a sudden,
no, what happened to my window?
Yeah, exactly.
What did you do to the basement window?
I mean, it's not my fault. I don't make the rules. It's just that it just came in, and that's what happened. There's like, I don't know. I'll tell you later. There's like dragons. Some dude trying to eat asking for mushrooms for some reason. Who knows? Yeah, just stay away from that stable in Hyrule.
I just tell you, you get 15 minutes a day to look out a window, and now this is what happens. That's no.
Anyways,
I'm gonna have to board up that basement window now.
Yeah. So, questions,
answers.
No, I'm saying, are you ready for the questions?
Oh yes, yeah.
All right.
Yeah, for sure.
Sorry, everyone. There was like I said, the dragons. There we go. I did the thing that you do where I did the pop out window, so I can look at Discord this time.
Ooh.
The Zelda mailbag. Yeah, it works phenomenally. So if you go to our Discord channel, there are links in the chat if you want to join the description if you want to join the Discord. Yeah.
And you should.
I mean, if you feel like it. So, where do we start? Okay, so there's 0%. No, okay, so this one kind of goes with the thing. Tetra, who may or may not be a pirate, says, "What is your favorite memory from the Hylian Gamescast from the last 5 years?"
I was a big fan of episode 100. In which, do you remember? It was like Super Chat City for starters, but also, I don't know, it was just fun to like get everyone on, and I don't remember what we talked about. I just remember that we had a lot of fun.
Yeah, I remember it was a lot of fun. I think my hand was still out of order at the time, but it was still really, really fun.
That was a good one.
I loved when I realized that it wasn't hard to get awesome people to come on the podcast. When people were like, "Oh yeah, I already watched this," or like if it was people that like I didn't even know had anything to do with Zelda, like I was telling you on when you were streaming Splatoon on your live stream, and I was like, hey, and I was like this whole weird thing with like one of my favorite bands, and I was telling you about it, and then it's like the guitarist. I was like, oh yeah, because I just randomly got a follow one day, and I wasn't following him, and I was like, oh, that it says he's the guitarist for this band. That's one of my favorite bands. What's going on with that? And he was like, oh no, I'm just a fan of the podcast, and I'm like, people that I like are people that also like ours. Like it was a different kind of realization that it was like, oh, people actually watch this that aren't just like fans of Zelda, but people that And then it was the same thing with some of the people from Nintendo that I've talked to. Some have come on the channel were fans of a couple of them. We didn't have the podcast going at the time, but they watched the channel and they liked the stuff that we were doing at the time before the podcast actually got going. But yeah, like that was really cool. Like the writer from Nintendo that worked on like Skyward Sword and some of the 3DS games and stuff like that, named 𝗏𝗧𝗏.
Yeah.
That's always a big thing that I'm proud of. Like the person with letters in front of their name from Nintendo's marketing team that I think helped me out with a lot of stuff from Nintendo has been really cool.
Letters in front of their name?
Yeah, like, like A, B, C, V, P, D, E, F, G, who knows? And,
all right. All right.
26 away from the number 200, is that right? Are we? It's like 170.
What?
Are you talking about the episode number of the podcast?
Great question. I'm gonna go check our last episode. I think we had the number in there.
Do you remember I tried adding them up one day?
This one's 174.
Yeah. I tried adding them up one day because we had like episode 87 like 10 times in a row.
Oh no.
Do you remember that?
Yeah, I think I do remember that. It was a bit of an ordeal.
Yeah, and then I was like, okay, I think I'm going to go through and try to count these. But it was hard at the time because we didn't live stream all of them from the very beginning. And then for a long time I would cut them up to where it was like each segment got its own video. So like on this we talked about the Tears of the Kingdom statue, and we would make that like Monday video, and then we talked about the Nintendo Direct with the Mario trailer, that would be Tuesday's video, and then we had the Pokemon stuff that we talked about, that would be Wednesday's video, and we did that or whatever.
Right.
And I would still try having there'd be at least 1 or 2 videos every day, so like each podcast segment would go up each day of the week, but I would also try to have the like a Zelda theory or like something that we did research in, like the canceled Zelda games or whatever. So I would try to do that, which a lot of those, to start out with, you edited a lot of them before you started putting a focus on your own YouTube channel, which has helped.
Well, my own channel, my current channel didn't exist at the time because I started that in 2019, I think.
But your channel has done really well since then. 𝗏𝗵𝗲 has wanted to do. I feel like she's been wanting to have a good schedule with her own channel, but with work, it's
I think her life has been a little too busy.
Which I don't have another job, but sometimes my life is too busy. Like, there's been a few people in the chat mentioning, like, when's part 2 of the translation video coming? And I'm like, it's tomorrow. Then it's the only thing I can say.
It's really tricky when you're starting a new channel because it's like if you don't have the time to put into it, it won't go anywhere.
Hmm.
And so then you have to like sustain another job, which means that you won't have the time to put into it. And it's like this vicious cycle. So it's very hard to like get started um
And Geeks has
in the
done really
first
well.
place. Yes, I commend her consistency considering how much other stuff she has on
Yeah,
her
she's
plate
like
as well.
a
Teaching and
teacher,
all
a
that.
dragon slayer, a
Mhm.
fish translator, a
Mhm.
professional palmetto bug. Get rid of her.
Right. I would say like for my channel, for example, the first 2 years I posted so irregularly and it like I think in those 2 years I only gained like 300 subs because of that, right? And then it was not till after that when it was already like during the pandemic. It was the start of last year
Hmm.
that things actually started building up because I was able then to actually put in the time to like post consistently. I still don't post as consistently as I'd like to, and that's what I do full time now, and it's still nowhere near what I would like it to be consistency wise. But making videos be good takes a lot of time.
It does,
Editing
especially on
takes a lot of
yours, where yours progressively started getting 5 minutes longer with each episode.
Okay, so I wanted to tell you something funny. I got a comment on one of my videos, and basically the gist of the comment was they were like, "I can tell you put a lot of work into this, and I appreciate that, but this video was not as in depth as I would have liked it to be. It feels very like shallow, that kind of like very watered down." That
Wow.
was the comment, right? And I was like, "Man, this video is already 42 minutes. How do I like I I get what they're saying, I guess, but I'm like, how much more in depth can I get? I already spent 42 minutes talking about one dungeon." Like,
I mean, maybe they were like,
one
"Oh, this
dungeon.
is that Majora's Mask 3D guy. Maybe he'll talk about Majora's Mask 3D."
Oh no. I get what they were saying, and I didn't want to be mean or reactive or defensive, but I was like just really scratching my head. I was like, I feel like I cover everything I can in these videos.
I
Like,
feel that
yeah.
there's one of my most popular videos. Like every week, it's one of
Hmm.
the ones that people watch the most. And like I even redid this video because the first one was so bad, and I remade the video with like different gameplay
Hmm.
footage, different commentary, everything, and it was explaining like the, the fastest or the quickest way to kill Lionel or whatever in Breath of the Wild. But the original video
Right.
keeps getting like thousands and thousands of views every week, and I'm like, but instead of watching that video, what if you watched this one? And people are like, oh, this is a really bad video, and I'm like, yeah, but it gets a lot of views, so I don't want to delete it.
Yeah,
But
that
like
sounds right.
in the description, it's like, hey, if you want an updated video, please click this. But no one clicks it.
Right. Oh.
And there's still people that are like,
Sometimes
I just started playing this game. Thank you for
algorithms.
posting this. And I'm like, but there's
It's
so many
helpful for
better
some.
ones.
Good. That's
Yeah.
good. No, it's funny. Like the algorithm's really weird sometimes because my one of my best performing videos, for example, is not even like it was like a total filler video that I had done between other larger projects, and it was still like an interesting topic that I wanted to do and I wanted to talk about. It was the video like why Midna's lament is the most emotional piece of Zelda
Oh
music,
yeah,
and it's
that
mostly
pops up a
talking
few
about like
times.
leitmotif and
I would imagine
music
it's
theory in it.
the Mount. What was it?
Satori Mountain one.
Yes, yeah, that one.
That one's also
I
that one
click
is my top
do not
video.
show again so many times, and it still pops up, and it's like,
Right.
I guess every time I go back to click on a video, it resets it. So every time I
Oh,
watch another one of your videos, it's just like, hey, are you interested in
it's
this?
like,
And I'm
oh,
like,
so
no.
you do. So you
That's,
do like that video. Yeah. No, this one has kind of replaced that one as being in my top performing videos. But it's funny is when I first posted it, it didn't perform very well. It got like 500 views
oh,
in
that
like the
happened to
first
me.
like 3 months.
Hmm.
And I was like, okay. And then a couple months later, it just like the algorithm picked it up and it just started like taking off. And I'm like, oh, this video was kind of, in hindsight, kind of like a rush job. Like I'm not really like rewatching it. I'm not really happy with how it turned out. Actually, I wish I had done better editing and all this stuff, right? But like, I mean, people seem to like the video. There's lots of really nice comments on it and all that. But yeah, it definitely feels like I was like, this was the video that was like my sort of like between big projects filler video, and it's getting thousands of views. And then I spend like 3 weeks on another video and it gets like a seventh of that. And I'm like,
Yeah.
YouTube is weird sometimes.
That used to happen to me a lot
Oh,
with the top 5 canceled games videos that we would all do, and I would try to get like you and Geek and Tubes and
right.
everyone to do like one of the games. And they would get an okay amount of views for like the first 2 weeks. But then after those 2 weeks, that's when they would start to take off. And that hasn't happened in a long time. But like it would happen every single time with those top 5 videos, so I guess that was just like the algorithm was just like
Weird.
judging it for those 2 weeks. Like, okay, we'll put you on like a trial run. See how well you do. And it's like, okay,
Weird.
if his subscribers like this, then we can start promoting it to other people. It's basically how I looked at it. And that happened recently with the top 10 strange or rare locations video that I made.
Yeah, that one keeps popping up in my recommended as well.
Yeah, I posted it, and I worked so long on it, and for like the first month, it didn't do well at all. It just like got the bare minimum of views, and I was like, well, that wasn't worth a week of editing. And then all of a sudden, lately, it's been taking off, and now it's one of my #1 videos. And I'm like, oh, this is like what happened with the old top 5 videos. So maybe it's just like hit that same algorithm thing. And
maybe.
yeah, it's been doing well.
Something in the algorithm just picked it up.
Yeah, and now people, because in that video I mentioned one of the next videos I was going to work on, which I have the list done, which is like the top, instead of locations, it's the top 10 strangest characters, which like, spoiler, one of the top ones is going to be Mushroom Guy from the stable.
Yeah, who loves the rushrooms and he's like addicted to them.
Yeah, because it's like that's something that's uniquely Nintendo, but also not Nintendo.
It's a little bit of
new age Nintendo.
Shades of substance abuse. Like,
yeah. Because like he literally is like, I don't know if the Japanese text is like that, but someone at Nintendo of America's Treehouse team were just like, yeah, this guy's gonna have a drug problem.
This guy's got a drug problem. If he doesn't eat over 50 mushrooms a day, he gets like lethargic. He goes through mushroom withdrawal. So weird. Yeah.
He's like tingle when he doesn't have a chance to draw a map.
Yeah.
So
terrible. We should probably continue with the mailbag. We did one question and then we got really sidetracked.
Yeah, well, it had to do with the last topic though. That was why.
That's true.
I was looking on Tweetor because I posted a thing.
Tweetor.
Yeah. The connection. Whatever one doesn't mention. I don't think that. Many people still like that 2 links theory.
I don't know why. Maybe I should just do a video on it, like a full proper video about debunking. I've done theory debunking videos before, so I might just have to. I've also done theory not debunking, just theory videos.
So here's the thing from someone who's working on a video that said they were going to credit us on an upcoming video. Christopher one says, in relation to the latest Zelda TOTK teaser, do you think the ZOEY towers on the walls have anything to do with the enormous spirit orb containing 2 swirls, quotes, hearts? So I imagine that's like at the end of the
Christopher,
new
that's
trailer
actually
where it has the
that's 𝗙𝗵𝗲. He's got his own
yeah. Think
YouTube
of it.
channel as
Yeah.
well. By the way, yeah, go check that out. But go on. Sorry, Jesse, you were saying.
No,
What you were about to say.
like at the end of the trailer, it shows the two what people call the tiers, like in the same container, where like everyone always focuses on just the one that's going up around them or around the mystery character. But then at the very end, it has the two that's in one when they're like holding hands or whatever. So I think he's asking about that. Like, what are your thoughts on that? Like, why is that separate and so distinct from the others?
Hmm.
Good old Andre, on time as ever.
Did you just message you?
It's okay.
Do you want to have a stab at this? Because my brain is currently overclocking right now, trying to think. It's so hard when you have so little info.
I mean, it really is. I just think it's like, so people have made the comparison that like the mystery character might be Hylia, and we're mostly confident that the one that we think is Zelda is Zelda. So where they're coming together, that like the reason that they're like doing the thing, like combining their power because they're basically the same person, and then the reason that their tears are in the same enveloped casing, whatever it is because they're because it's like basically the same entity. So like theirs got combined into like one thing. Basically, that's what I'm thinking.
It's interesting about the Hylia / Zelda sort of duality thing is that Zelda in Skyward Sword, at the very least, is Hylia reborn as a mortal. That's just not a theory. That's just canon, right? So in theory, other Zeldas are just, it's a bloodline thing. Like they carry the blood of the goddess because they're descended from Skyward Sword Zelda, who is the reincarnation of Hylia. But at the same time as that, Hylia exists beyond time, as it's said in Skyward Sword. She's watching over Link's adventure from beyond time.
Yeah, there's one of the exact quotes says like 𝗙 says that Hylia is sending a message to you from the edge of time.
Yeah. But at the same time, you also have in Breath of the Wild, Zelda's diary states that like she had a vision of, she just describes the character as like a beautiful, mysterious woman, but it's implied, the implication is that it's Hylia speaking to Zelda in her dream, but Zelda can't hear her voice because she hasn't tapped into her sealing powers. So you have like the goddess Hylia also communicating with incarnations of Zelda from, again, like from presumably her place sort of beyond time, while also having given up her own divine form and reincarnated herself as a mortal. So it's like, it's a little bit of a mind bend. It does, not to get into like religious subject matter, but it is a little bit like the whole Father, Son, Holy Spirit and Christian theology, where it's sort of like a one and the same, but also three separate, but also one entity. So there is that, but it's a very interesting sort of bit of game lore to wrap your brain around. But if that figure is like,
kind of makes sense because it seems like they're taking from various religions, even like some
for sure,
just for Japan with like the
Shintoism
and yes. So yeah. I think you're onto something,
right? So if it's a big if, but if this character or this figure is meant to be Hylia and sort of as a reflection or a duality to Zelda, not because Zelda is Hylia, but at least they are intrinsically connected, then Yeah, I mean it I'm like, hey, I'm like 90% connecting the dots here in my head, but I do think that there's going to be a connection with that. I
Hmm.
really do. Um, as for like the Zonai towers that we see like around Hyrule, there probably will be some connection there, but I'm not sure what that will be. It could be something as innocuous as like, oh, you'll get the maps on these towers again. It could be absolutely nothing, but it could be everything.
Hmm.
So there is that. It's yeah. Yes.
All
Any
right.
thoughts to add there, Jesse? Or
No,
should we
no,
move to
I,
the
I, I
question?
think it's just like the Zelda Hylia thing, like them not, I wouldn't say reconnecting, but maybe like instead of usually Princess Zelda like gains some of the abilities or powers from Hylia, and I think maybe in
Mhm,
this game she gets like the full power from Hylia, and like that maybe that's what it
mhm,
means. Who knows? Um, It could be someone completely different, like the princess of whatever this new realm or this other realm in the game is going to be, and then the princess of Hyrule or the king of the other realm, and then both of them, almost like if we were to say that it was the Twilight realm, which it probably isn't, or it might be, who knows? Not us, but if it was Midna, like imagine in
mhm,
Twilight Princess where like Midna and Zelda sort of kind of have to work together, and like Zelda gives Midna like
mhm,
a bunch of her power or whatever so that Midna's be able to be re-healed or whatever. And I imagine it's something to where it's like either Zelda and Hylia or Zelda and someone else from a different kingdom that are like the rulers of said kingdoms like combine their powers into one, and that's why there's like the two tiers in the one emblem. And I think
mhm.
it's just something like that, whether it's Hylia or someone else. Like I just think that's it, where it
Right.
just shows them having to work together, and that's yeah.
Yeah, that's fair. Although I don't I'm just gonna as a disclaimer, I don't think Midna's gonna be in this game.
No, no, not at all.
Um, because she would be like
1 billion years old.
100,000 years old. Like thousands and thousands and thousands of years old at this point.
Hmm.
So I just don't see that. But you
Specifically,
know,
at least 10,100 years old. At least.
not saying there's no connection to the Twilight. I just don't think it's gonna be Midna herself
Right.
that shows up.
Well,
Mhm.
it's yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Cool.
Yeah. Um,
There's another question here.
there are,
If
yes.
you're
That's
ready to
good to
move
know.
on.
Dragon Chi.
Yes.
I want to
Um,
do this one first because Patreon
yes.
supporter.
Yeah, do
And I
it.
want to
Do
get to
it.
that
Do it.
because I messaged him directly and asked him, um, but they haven't replied yet because they said there were two questions I had that I don't know if they were covered in the last podcast you just did, and I don't remember covering these, but I also tried looking for the questions and I couldn't find them. And he says, "Did I miss them?" Referring to my questions about the sword in the title, which is, I guess, the Master Sword in the logo where it splits off
Mm.
and goes to half Twilight form. And also how 8 months leading to the release will be divided. So, how do you think, at the time this was written, between now and the release, how do you think those months will be divided? Because usually the closer we get to the game, the more and more it starts to pick up on like promotional material and stuff. We just seen the statue that was released at Nintendo Live. Usually they plan
Mhm.
something at E3 for a big launch, but this comes out before E3, so it might just be like split between Tears of the Kingdom and whatever other games they have coming out. So, how do you see the next half year going between now and
Hmm.
the Tears release?
I think we
Uh,
might have talked about this briefly, but yeah, it's a good question still. I do think that just because the rest of the year is stacked, we probably won't see anything more than little sprinklings of things.
mm-hmm.
Like even the statue was like not really something they advertised too much. Like they tweeted a picture of it after other people already saw it and tweeted about it, but
Yeah, but
it was like at an event, right?
yeah, that
Uh
Never mind.
But I do
I don't want
think
to talk about that.
after January or January onward, I think we're going to see a lot of stuff. I know I've been saying that for weeks and weeks, but I do think January feels like a pretty safe bet. That they're going to be like all in on marketing this game come that time. They're going to be like trying to remind everyone like nothing else exists except for this game. You need to get this game. Like they're going to put all their, and I think they've invested a lot of money into developing this one. It comes out in May, so I think January is when we'll start to see stuff, like really heavy stuff. Like we'll probably get another trailer.
I think our friend HMK mentioned something about him expecting stuff at Game Awards.
Maybe.
What do you think about that?
Like I wouldn't bank on it. Game Awards have been kind of sucking lately. So I really wouldn't bank on it. I would love it. I would love it if they did. But I'm at this point I'm gonna say like
well, maybe they'll put
wouldn't put money on it. Please no.
Maybe that's gonna be the voice of oh geez, what if that was the voice of Ganon? Or even worse, the voice of Link.
No.
It's like family, y'all.
No, please. Please no. No, but I do think I think there is a chance for us to see something at the Game Awards. But I don't know. I'm not gonna put my money on it. But I do think after the new year.
Why don't you message one of the people that you know that produces the Game Awards?
Oh, nobody.
Oh, I thought you were. Are you not dinner pals with Miyamoto anymore?
We don't talk about that. He said after the comments you made about Mario's butt, we are no longer friends. And I was like, Miyamoto, why?
I seen that was people.
Why?
That was something that people were memeing about. They're like, compared to Odyssey, Mario didn't have a butt. And I'm like,
yeah,
that's your complaint?
First Wario and now Mario. They're just it's the butt erasure of Nintendo.
I know what'll make them feel better about the movie. If they put like a 15-minute pre-movie, like you know how Disney or Pokemon sometimes has like a 10-15 minute cartoon in front of the actual movie. They put like a Waluigi cartoon in front of the movie.
Oh yeah.
Like give us a Luigi's Mansion movie, but put Waluigi in it.
Oh no.
With the same voice actor.
Yes,
Charles.
do that, please.
So like there's no
Please
voice, it's just him being like, wow.
Yeah, let's do that.
Yeah, the ghost laughs, he laughs, we laugh. It's a good time. His other question, the sword
and the title.
Yes, sword and title.
Yeah, I was thinking that we did talk about this a previous time. I think when we were going over the trailer footage and like the logo and stuff. When we did that whole 2.5 hour of trailer breakdown episode. I do think that the sword in the logo is maybe a little more symbolic. I don't think it's gonna like literally look exactly like that, but I think it's symbolic of like us using maybe this old ancient magic to repair it or something like that. But you know, maybe I'm wrong. So you never know. You never know. What do you think? Tell me your thoughts, Jesse.
Well, I think most people seem to think that it is the Twilight magic that's repairing it, which could be the case, but it's like ZOEY seem to have that similar color, but now people are thinking that ZOEY and Twilight are similar. And I think that could be the direction, but I think the exact design of the outline that it gives for the sword isn't necessarily how or the shape the sword will take if it is killed by this magic. I think that's just more of like what we see on the carvings on the walls and stuff, where it's just like the artistic representation more so than the actual look. So it's just like a stylized impression of the sword possibly being healed and then glowing with green energy. And I think that's basically just it. I just think it's like a stylized representation, not necessarily what it is going to look like.
Yes.
So I don't think the sword's going to have those embedded grooves on it when it's finished with like those same layouts. I just think that's like just representing the idea of it.
I agree.
Yeah.
We are aligned.
Nice. I'd give you a high five, but I don't want you to get cupcakes all over your hand.
You got cupcakes? Is that what you're saying?
Just like metaphorical cupcakes. I think you're muted.
Oh, am I?
No, you're not. Never mind.
Oh, sorry. I was just whispering too quietly and the mic didn't pick me up. I was just saying, I really wanted a cupcake. Yeah. I really wanted one. Oh, wow.
So, do you have a next question picked out, Daniel?
Well,
we can
let's
do
see.
This one and then the final one. So, anyone in the live chat, you can get your question ready, and it will be our last question.
Oh. Runewolf in the Discord asked, 5 years already in your time together from 5 years ago to now. Did any of your Zelda predictions come to pass?
I want to say last year, almost all of them.
Yeah. There was that video that we did that was like Zelda games in 2018, 2019, and 2020, something like that. And I remember at the end of like 2020, I think I rewatched that, and it was like really interesting to see like it was probably about 70% correct. And there were like some things that it was, I'm like, who knows like what got canceled because the pandemic happened and all that. But like you mentioned like a new Hyrule Warriors game coming out, which did, and then Zelda like a 2D remake, and that was like Link's Awakening and stuff like that. I can't remember exactly what else was in there. I just remember rewatching and being like, this was pretty good actually.
Last year I did like, I got so annoyed last year where like I did all these videos and then everything kept happening, but people were still commenting, oh, this is stupid, this is clickbait, whatever. So then I made that one video that just covered basically all the stuff that we had talked about and everything that and I had like screenshots and everything, and it was like everything, I don't want to say we because I don't want to like include you in any of the hate, but everything that I said would happen aside from the Ocarina of Time thing, which was what I went heaviest on, but like everything that I said would happen with the Skyward Sword HD, Skyward Sword accessories, the amiibo, like literally it was just like all the stuff. Even like the months where it was like, oh, something's going to happen this month, but no one will tell me what it is, but they said something related, and then I was like, oh, it's a Tuesday, but then it wasn't a Tuesday, it was like Wednesday, and then they were like, here's the first 4 figures champion statues announced. We're gonna do new statues for all the champions, and it's like, you were like, oh, Jesse, you were right about this, and I'm like, yeah, but I thought it was like a Tuesday. This happened on Wednesday. I don't think I was. But it was like everything except for the Ocarina of Time thing. Like literally, there's like over a dozen things in the video where I listed all the stuff that I said would happen, and it all did happen, and I had screenshots and everything, and people were like, oh, you're just making this video to blah 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 because you're just trying to defend yourself because it didn't happen, or why would you have to defend yourself if you're telling the truth? And I'm like, well, like if you say someone's lying and they're not lying, then like your comment doesn't even really make sense, because it's like you can like see on the screen like this is the proof of all the stuff happening. So it's like if you're still denying it, that's just your stupidity. That's like someone being like, this is a basketball, and someone being like, that's not a basketball, that's a strawberry.
Right.
Yeah.
Ooh. I was thinking, speaking of predictions we got right, we had put it in writing. Our
Oh, the
like
Twitter
thread
thing.
of
Yeah.
predictions for last year. I had to search it up here. And actually a lot of it was right as well in that. So I'll read it out for people. I know we've actually talked about this when at the end of last year or the beginning of this year, but so we had written this our official Gamescast 2021 prediction thread. Tube had said N64 emulator for Switch. We got that. Geek had put prediction is we will learn of some sort of big DLC pack for Animal Crossing, paid DLC, she says. That was also correct.
And these
aren't necessarily all Zelda.
Important.
But
these were just guesses or wishes, not
right.
stuff people told us.
This is true. This was just us like throwing stuff out there. We also this prediction thread is from August of 2020, I'll say. And you can find it on Twitter.
And it was predictions for the following year.
Mm-hmm. I said Metroid because it's been long enough, and another trailer for Breath of the Wild sequel, but I don't think we'll get the game yet. That was also unfortunately true. Well, fortunately and unfortunately, we did get Metroid Dread, but we got the trailer and not the game, so I was correct there as well.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. So there was actually quite a lot that we had gotten. That we had gotten right.
What were mine? Like, what were all
yours?
Of yours? And
I think was
the because we did like 4 things each.
So,
was that it?
I'm not sure how many each. What you put is Nintendo will announce. Oh, that was the whole of mine, Geeks and Tubes. Yours was Nintendo will announce 3 Zelda games before the end of 2021. 2 original and 1 remake. I think you were not right.
Yeah.
That. But I honestly think you would have been if we didn't have a pandemic happen. You know what I mean? I think that just threw a wrench in everything.
I was expecting Nintendo to officially announce that 2D Zelda game that they talked about.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
But yeah.
They've talked about but haven't released or done anything with.
But yeah, the thing that I was proud of though was like all across last year, aside from the Ocarina of Time thing, which the person that
we misinterpreted what they had told us though, because they said they had said like just Ocarina of Time, not 3D or HD. And so what I think they were referring to it going to NSO, but we misunderstood. I think that's what happened. I might be wrong. You clarify. Please go ahead.
No, because like you.
Because if I'm remembering correctly, they were like, they had said
it gets a bit.
What I've heard is Ocarina of Time, not HD or 3D.
Yeah, that was a
were like, oh well, Link's Awakening. Yeah, but we were like, well, Link's Awakening didn't have like 3D or like HD on the title either.
Yeah.
So it's gonna be just like something.
But there was also that. Yes.
Yes.
It gets.
I might be remembering wrong because I was not actually in contact.
That's the thing is like because there's the. We're just gonna call them all writers. There was the writer that said sent the first couple of things, and then there was like a follow-up where there was another writer that was like, oh, we watched this because we thought it was just basically BS. And it turned out they were right, but they wanted to correct a few things. And then there was like the original writer, and like at the time I remember we were like, well, it seems plausible that these people could be writing. Like we do know people that have written for Nintendo, so like this stuff could be from other people that do that. And then there was the like right after that was when the actual people from Nintendo officially contacted me. I put that in quotes and was like, hey, do you want to come to this thing we're going to have in July and blah, blah, blah. and it was like all around the same time. So I was like, okay, well, I guess they know what they're talking about, since like apparently everyone from Nintendo all of a sudden is like, hey, we're going to follow you on Twitter, or we're going to invite you to this thing that they ended up not doing and broke my heart. But anyways,
but we did still get the remake that you predicted, which was Skyward Sword.
Yeah, that was the thing. And then it was like there was the hardware for it, the amiibo, which even though we were guessing, and we were guessing.
Well, we said Loftwing amiibo.
Yeah, but we were guessing. That was the thing. Like no one was like, hey, there's gonna be a Loftwing amiibo. That was a complete guess, and that ended up happening, and it did what we kind of said it would do, which is like help you travel a bit faster with your Loftwing and stuff like that. Like you, instead of, because like traveling on the Loftwing was still kind of slow, and they're like, well, maybe there's a way to like speed it up or something. And it turned out that was kind of what it did.
Kind of.
Yeah. And then there was the week that we said there was going to be Age of Clams trailer for the DLC, and then that same week we said there was going to be the Skyward Sword amiibo trailer, explaining more of it. And it was like all like the month before E3 and stuff, because we were like, they're going to be wanting to talk about this during E3, so they're not going to have time to talk about this. And like all of that stuff ended up being true, based off of magical emails that did not come from anyone except
no one. 3
layers of encryption through Daniel's basement, and random messages written on shoelaces from the shoes that he throws at me.
Yes, but a side note, speaking of correct predictions, I think it was E3 of 2019 where we were doing like predictions, and I think you said also that year you said 3 Zelda things would happen. And then we actually did get that. It was like Cadence of Hyrule, Link's Awakening, and then they dropped the announcement for the sequel to Breath of the Wild is now in development. And you had said it, and we were all like, no way. That's too much Zelda stuff in one E3. And then it totally wasn't. It was totally true.
Well, that time it was actually just guesses. The other time were guesses as well, but that time really was guesses.
Yeah, we were just trying to do like
patterns
stuff. Yeah, we weren't connecting or having a source for that one, but it was just a fun prediction that you ended up being correct on. So yeah, that was a fun one.
AMF mentions I also said that I thought the Loftwing was going to be used like the Wolflink amiibo for the next Zelda, and bring a Loftwing over from Skyward Sword, like I did with
I would
Wolflink.
love that.
And there was the idea that we had with using Link's house to transfer items and weapons. So like the items or weapons that you leave inside Link's house in your save file for Breath of the Wild carries over to Tears of the Kingdom. That was another thing that we made a video about.
There was
it's better than the wooden
it sounds far-fetched, but like
gave you.
I remember Borderlands 2 did a similar thing where it was literally a locker in like one of the cities, and you could like put stuff in and transfer it to like your other save file and stuff like that. So like it's totally doable. It's totally doable.
Diogenes says, what's the next year's predictions? We can give predictions, but I haven't talked to any of the people that much since last year.
We gave our personal thoughts, but I mean, I think that Tears of the Kingdom is going to be the only Zelda we see next year. I don't anticipate another thing. They might announce something and like not release it.
I mean, I think it seems like it's pretty clear that Monolith Soft is doing the Tears thing, not their own Zelda game, despite them getting the official Zelda team, because I went on and on about why would they announce them as, or like make them an official Zelda team and then hire more people for that team if they weren't doing something on their own? But it could have just been like they were just so busy on their own game at Monolith Soft working on
Xenoblade?
Yeah, Xenoblade 3, that they didn't have quite as robust of a team to where they could have as many people working on Tears of the Kingdom as they did with Breath of the Wild. So that seems like that was the case with that. But like even in recent interviews, I don't think 𝗷𝗵𝗲, but Miyamoto has mentioned that they still have like dedicated 2D Zelda teams, not just for software, but for hardware. Not that we're gonna get like the hardware, but I imagine they're just experimenting on everything.
Right.
Not 2D, I mean like dual screen hardware. But
I do think though we could get,
and then there's Grezzo, Tantalus, and all of them. Yeah, but you were saying?
I could see DLC happening before the end of the year though. Like they come out with Tears of the Kingdom in Tears of the Kingdom, sorry. That they could come, the game comes out in March, and then around end of the year the DLC will drop. Much like they did for Breath of the Wild. It was all out. Like Champions Ballad was out, I think that December. It was the Game Awards.
Yeah,
and they were like, yep, there it is.
June and that December.
Available today.
Or maybe it was July and December. Because there was like the first part that came out in July, and then I think it'll be exactly what you said, but I think they'll also announce it whenever they officially announce the pre-order and all the pre-order stuff for Tears of the Kingdom. I think that's when they'll I think they'll, when they're like, hey, the Tears of the Kingdom pre-order bonuses, blah blah blah, they'll also be like, and here's the DLC that you can also pre-order along with it. I think that it'll just be the same way because it worked so well the first time.
It did.
So maybe you'll get like your red Nintendo Switch shirt whenever you download Tears of the Kingdom to play. And honestly, I think the DLC will be quite similar to where it's like, oh, here's a hard mode or a master mode or whatever. And then the actual story DLC will come later. But I think the story DLC will be a bit more interesting instead of just being like, this is kind of sort of what happened in the past, and then you can redo the same bosses over.
Right.
I think it'll be a bit more because I feel like they listen to the fans a bit more than they did previously. And they, instead of reusing ideas from concept or beta stuff, I think the DLC for this, since the sequel was half sort of based off of deals or concept from the first games, I think they'll actually be able to put like actual new ideas into the DLC. So I'm excited for that. And I hope it's not like just a thing like this happened 100,000 billion years ago. And it actually continues the story.
Yes, please. I mean, I like the Champions Ballad stuff, but mostly like the cutscenes were really good, but mostly it was like the rewards were what made it worthwhile, in my opinion.
And the dungeons were very creative, like sneaking around on the Great Plateau and stuff. It was all really good.
The only thing is I was like 16 more shrines, and it's just like I've done 120 shrines already now. So
all right, Daniel, do you have a final question from the chat?
Oh, I thought that was it.
Oh, was it?
We did the question, and then we did what are the next year's predictions. So those two kind of intertwined.
Well, really quickly, Freya Bell, Freya.
Mm-hmm.
Because I don't know if this has been talked about yet, but Link's visual design looks updated, especially in the statue. This is a really quick one.
Did.
Yeah.
We did. Well, yeah, that was the first topic we kind of talked about.
Yeah, we did discuss that as the first topic, but I think it's the same design. It just looks more detailed because it's an actual real life statue as opposed to like a digital thing on a screen. And I think that's why it looks
there are some differences. Like his gloves are different here than or his one glove is different than it was in like the announcement trailer, for example. It is a little bit different.
Interesting.
So yeah, there are some but it's pretty minor stuff. I did notice he doesn't have those little vial things on him in the statue.
He doesn't?
That he's got in the trailer. No, the statue doesn't have them.
Oh, maybe.
It could be that Nintendo wanted to like hide it, not let people see too much of it, or it could be that he only has it sometimes when he's using certain abilities or something, or it's something that he will equip.
Yeah.
And it'll, yeah. So who knows though? But like it's featured so prominently on like the box art, and then it's not there on the statue. It's very curious.
And it has the same background as the box art.
Yeah, exactly. What's funny is the background behind him is the same as the box art, but he's not in it. Like they removed him from the background.
Yeah.
I guess so he could be on the statue. But yeah, it's kind of funny. Here's a fun thought though. If they do an amiibo like that, make the arm glow in the dark.
Yes.
Just use like the glow in the just for the arm.
Like,
wouldn't that be so cool?
Like with the Majora's Mask first 4 figures that's over here that's missing the horn for me. They have like the special lights on it that you can turn on if you put a battery inside the base.
Oh.
I haven't done it yet.
I think that's a bit pricey
because
pricey for an amiibo to do, but
yeah. But I mean, like if they do like a better statue or whatever. Dubia says that's genius. You're smart, Daniel. Put a glow in the dark in it.
It is smart.
You know what else is smart?
You.
No, if it would be a very smart idea if everyone went to your YouTube channel and subscribed so they could stay up to date with all of your live streams that you do.
Oh my gosh. Well, if they wanted to. If they want to listen to me talk. Then yeah. I guess this is wrapping things up then. But yes, I'm Daniel, aka 𝗏𝗏. All the links to my channel, social medias are in the description below. And I actually have a stream tomorrow that I'm doing of some Majora's Mask because I've been doing a timeline stream.
How weird. We were just talking about Mr. Majora's Lost Mask.
I know. So much a quinky dink, didn't it? But yeah, it should be fun. I also have a running series of videos dissecting the dungeon design of various dungeons of the Zelda series. I've got like more than 40 of those episodes done of those dungeon videos. So there's lots of backlog if you want some meaty, good, in-depth Zelda content.
Or if you want to complain about
sink your teeth into.
Not as in-depth as you would like, but it's still an hour-long video.
I mean, the thing is, I feel like it's like I get pretty in depth. I mean, even the Deku Tree one, the video is 16 minutes. That video is longer than it would actually take you to go in through that dungeon. Like,
from the beginning of the game.
Yeah. And so yeah, but usually they are around the half-hour mark. But I get pretty in depth in some of these dungeons, so it's pretty good. I'm working through the Breath of the Wild currently, but I've done every other 3D Zelda game, and then I'm going to be going back to do the 2D games once I finish Breath of the Wild. And because I only mention this because everyone keeps asking me, "Are you going to do the 2D games? How come you haven't done the 2D games?" I'm going to do them. Don't worry. So,
well, have you heard of this new game called A Link Between Worlds?
Oh my god, that's in the 2D series, or I count it as a 2D game, even though it's technically 3D. I count it as like 2D Zelda because
it's a handheld 2D game.
It's like the top-down perspective. Yeah.
3D models, but it's a 2D game.
The gameplay is like the 2D style. So yeah. Anyways, go check that out if you feel like you want to listen to someone talk about one dungeon at length for half an hour at a time, 44 times over. And
also once a year, he gives out cheesecake.
Once a year? Oh yes. I also did a fun theory video. Did you like that one, Jesse? Did my
The
5 theories
the lore
video?
yes, I did my best to share it the community.
I saw
So I
it.
hope everyone else was able to watch
It
it.
was much appreciated. It's like when I always notice a difference when you share it. It's like the analytics on YouTube. It's like, oh, it's going up steady. That's great. And then Jesse shares it, and it goes up at a better angle. So
Better angle. That's all I can
yeah,
hope for.
you
Is
know
just
what
better angles.
you know what I'm talking about, parabolas. You know. So no, I appreciate it. Go check that out if you want some Zelda theories.
Yeah,
I got
Natsu
a
says
few
your
of
streams
those.
are just pretty good. He's like,
They're pretty good.
They're pretty good. They're okay. Like they're not as good as like expensive meal at the Olive Garden, but they're pretty good.
Yeah, I kind of count Phantom Hourglass, like the DS Zelda games, as like 2D, even though like they're kind of in between.
Yeah, because like the
But,
resolution's so
yes.
low that it's like it's hard to tell that
It's pretty bad.
Yeah, it's like
The overworld stuff is pretty 3D, but then you go into like the dungeons, it's basically 2D Zelda.
yeah, like the
You know,
it's a different type of 2D, but it reminds me of how in Donkey Kong Country on Super Nintendo they like took images of 3D models and used them as the 2D model for Donkey Kong and Diddy Kong and everything. So it's like,
yeah,
it's 3D images, but they're just images of 3D. They're not the actual 3D models. They just put it in there as like the 2D sprites.
You want to hear something fun? Is that's also what they did for New Super Mario Bros. It looks fully 3D, but it's actually 2D sprites. And this and so that same goes for like Mario Maker. 3D World's the only one that's actually
they did it in
3D,
Mario
but,
Maker
like
as
the
well?
new Super Mario Bros.
Like when you're changing the graphic art style of the games.
Yeah,
like,
when you change it to like the new Super Mario Bros. Art style, it's still actually 2D. Just the 2D sprites are like images of the 3D models, so they look 3D.
It's insane,
isn't it?
Yeah.
It's cool.
And then 3D World's the only one that uses 3D. Well, I guess that makes sense because it's 3D.
That's why it has to be separate, like from the 2D ones. Like, because the other game styles in Mario Maker, you can just like change to like you can just flip between them, and it'll take like your whole level, and it'll just flip it to that other art style. But then you try and change 3D World, and it'll wipe. You have to like start over. You can't carry it between styles.
I did not know.
So that's why that one's separate, because it's the only one that's actually 3D.
I got Mario Maker 2 from our very amazing co-host 𝗬𝗵𝗃, who also is in the description. I think she already had the game, and Nintendo sent her a copy or something like that.
That sounds right.
And she was like, "Hey, I have this extra code. Do you want it?" And I was like, "Yeah, I'll play it." Because who doesn't want to play Mario?
Yeah.
But yeah.
Who doesn't love a little bit of Mario?
Thank you, 𝗬𝗵𝗃, for that.
Bit of trivia to end the stream off here.
Yeah, and of course, Geek and 𝗬𝗵𝗃 are both in the description. I, as well, am in the description. Go check out Daniel's live stream tomorrow. Maybe I'll post it on the community whenever he goes live, so you can check that out. I updated a few bots, so on Thursdays it shouldn't say that we're going live when we're not going live.
Excellent.
It should be Tuesdays now. And we have our Reddit that I have the bot posting there, but only when we actually, like, it's triggered when we actually go live, so that, or if a video is uploaded, then it'll post.
I always forget about Reddit.
Yeah, me too. I never go on Reddit. But apparently there's like a whole, what surprised me was someone sent me a thing, and it was like Tears of the Kingdom translations Reddit. Like, there's a whole group dedicated to that, and there was like several threads on that group that were waiting on the translation video that I was doing, and even the next one that I'm doing. And it just makes me be like, instead of making me like rush to do it, it makes me like want to take longer to make sure that it's as accurate as possible, which isn't really up to me. That's the amazing Zoe and the Hylian historian, and the rest of the group that's helping them out. And I'm just the one that's like talking about it. And every day I get more updates to make it even more correct or more accurate. And that's basically why part 2 hasn't been up yet, because I don't really want to make more than 2 videos on it. And I want to make sure that it's as accurate as it can be. And there's been more people that speak Japanese as a native language that have been reaching out, that I've been putting in touch with them to try to make sure that it's as accurate as possible. So I wanted to sort of give an update on that, but that'll come out either tomorrow or the next day. And if there are any updates in the future after the video releases, then instead of a part 3 video releasing, we'll just talk about it on the future episodes of the podcast to give quick updates. And hopefully maybe one day Zoe will come on the podcast and talk about all of it herself, since she's really the one that got all of this started, and all credit should go to
mastermind
her.
Here.
Yes. And
yes.
Also, the next week we are having, and again, I apologize for getting this wrong, but Sauron, the guy in charge of the Second Wind DLC for the Breath of the Wild 𝗬𝗵𝗲 emulator. He's got a lot of great stuff. They put like an underground cave and a lot of major updates. Bree is really enjoying it. My little brother really enjoys it. I know 𝗏𝗏 streams it a lot. A bunch of other people streams all of it a lot. I don't know if you've had the honor or the privilege of playing it, Daniel, but it adds a lot of really cool stuff to it.
I'm not. But I wouldn't mind to.
Yeah. Alright, so everyone, thank you so much for watching. Remember to go check out all of Daniel's amazing stuff, because he's, let's be honest, he's the reason you guys are here during this episode. And we'll talk to you next week. Have a wonderful day, everyone. Bye.
Thank you all.